This is a special meeting. It's a special commission meeting. Today is, because I have the phone date on it, September 18, 2017 at 8:02 p.m. Our commission chambers, 500 Southwest 109th Avenue. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Clerk will note all members present.
Okay, let's stand up for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to do the invocation, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you now, Lord, and we give you thanks for just being able to really survive and persevere through this hurricane that just came through here, dear Lord. Lord, we thank you for all our first responders, our police officers. Lord, we also pray for the linemen who've risked their lives in these situations, Lord, to try and connect power so that we may all be living comfortably, Lord. Lord, we want to pray again that you grant us the guidance and the wisdom needed to make all the difficult decisions up here, dear Father. And Lord, we pray that you bless our military services, Lord, domestic and abroad, dear Father, as we continue to progress in our daily lives. Amen.
Amen.
No, just to remind the commissioners that basically you are reconvening the meeting that you recessed on September the 7th.
Yes, thank you. We have public comments. Eduardo Suarez, Commissioner, please.
My name is Eduardo M. Suarez, and I reside in 11332 Southwest 7th Street, Sweetwater, Florida, for the last 44 years. Mayor, commissioners, vice mayor, attorney, Madam Clerk, I want to make a few comments about the budget. We have a wake-up call a few days ago. The water level Sunday at about 7 p.m. at 1 inch below the surface floor of my house at about 7 p.m. Fortunately, from that point on, the rain started subsiding, and I heard that 3 or 4 pumps were finally Sunday evening installed. I mean, not the pumps, the generators to the pumps. And unfortunately, the one that served me the closest on 113th Avenue and 5 Terrace, I heard that they brought the generator to the pump and the generator started, but when they connected it to the panel of the pump, there was no handshake between the generator. The pump didn't do anything, but I heard that the generator started. As I was saying, this is a wake-up call. I hope that in your decisions on this budget, you use your common sense. This city needs money to take care of all the needs of its residents. They demand services. They don't like to pay taxes, but they demand services. And the city is in need of repair, maintenance. We don't want to live in a ghetto. I was figuring out a few numbers here, and if the ad valorem taxes that we collect is $7,115,562, and I divide that by the current millage rate of 4.5, that comes out to $1,581,236 per a unit of millage rate. If I subtract the rollback rate of 4.2151 from the current 4.5, my number is 0.2849. If the unit of millage rate of $1,581,236, I multiply it by that difference between the current 4.5 and the rollback, I get $450,494. That is the difference that we're going to lose if we go to the rollback rate, almost $500,000. If you have any other sources of income other than the ad valorem taxes to compensate for that, I don't have a problem with that. I don't think the residents will have it either. But make sure that we're going to be able to cover all the expenses of this city, including increasing the reserve, the saving account, which with all this overtime payment and collecting all this garbage, probably is going to go down to zero or close to. And according to our auditors, it should be around $5 million. For a situation like this hurricane, now we got Maria. So I just brought a few campaign promises. Rebajar los impuestos. Reduce property taxes. Bajar los impuestos a la propiedad. Lower the property taxes. Luchar por la responsabilidad fiscal y contra la corrupción. That means that this city is corrupt. I don't agree with that, but that's the message sent there. Eliminar toda corrupción. Eliminate all corruption. So this is a corrupt city again. I don't agree with that either. Bajar los impuestos a las propiedades.
Who commission say?
I don't want to say who commission say it. This is a sampling of commissioners that are sitting on the board right now that went for election in May 1, 2, 3, and 4. The most sensible one that I found, just one, luchar para que nuestro presupuesto esté libre de malgastos. That's a good one. That's sensible, common sense. To fight for our budget to be free of waste. Okay. Whatever you decide, make sure that this city has enough money. And I don't know, you have to also meet these promises that you made to your constituents. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to start with saying that this meeting is to work on the budget. We have to make decisions tonight. We're going to be making decisions where we're going to have cuts or what we're going to add. My first one is this. I would like to remove the $150,000 from the budget message to the reserve. And whatever this study comes along, they can bring it to the commission with all the details, and the commission will take that in consideration. But for now, I would like to move that to the reserve.
I second that.
Through the chair.
I understand.
Which line item are you talking about?
Now, I said budget message. You
First
have
page.
$150,000. That's the first one.
I'm sorry, what page
So
is
the
that, ma'am?
first, no, it's the first. It's the budget message. It's your first page.
Budget
Right
message
here.
is not on this agenda.
You got it?
You're talking about the proposed budget for Grants Department and
Are you
Stormwater,
talking
ma'am?
about the drainage study for the north side?
Yes, I would say that we put that into the reserve, and then it's right here, so. Okay, and then we put it on the reserve, then when it comes to do this project, bring it to the commission, and then the commission will look it up, and the money's gonna be there, so.
And how would you fund it at that point in time? The only way that you can specifically do this is to earmark monies way in advance so that we know that we can put an ITB out to have this drainage study done. The north side is horrible and it floods all the time.
Yeah.
To not put that money and specifically earmark it in the budget is just completely reckless and irresponsible.
Okay, what happened is, we went through this last year, they put it in the budget message, and we got stuck with a lot of things that we didn't even know was there, we didn't even agree to it.
This was not in the budget message last year, and this is
No,
actually
no, I'm saying
specified
what
in the
happened
budget.
last year. Last year, what happened was a few things that we put on that we were not aware of. We didn't even actually look close enough, and then at the end of the day, we got stuck with it. That's what I want to take this,
You don't have to worry about the budget
lightly.
message. It's in the budget. It's in the grants department to be able to do this, to do it. It's, forget about the budget message. It's in here. And again, I repeat that to not do this is totally reckless because it's the first thing that has to get done to be able to do a drainage study for the north side, to be able to start
Okay,
trying to
can
achieve
we-
grants.
Can we
and
come out
Commissioner
this
Ojeda
from
worked
some of
in-
the
in-
sources? Can any of this study could be taken from any of the sources?
At this point in time, you're just asking to steal from Paul
the
to get to
city
Peter.
attorney.
If I understand your question, it's whether you can go ahead and.
Later on,
With this, Madam President, you could do a couple of things. There, as, if I understand correctly from the mayor, he's saying that what he would like to see is to at least earmark the money. In other words, by eliminating it, by removing it from the budget here, from the grants department, where I believe that's where the mayor says the item is. And if you were to move that to
reserves.
to reserves. But with the caveat that that funding is earmarked for the study if and when it comes to the commission for approval. Because if I understand the beginning of your statement is you want to make sure the commission is, I guess, reviews whatever the
Exactly,
the
that's
money's
what
going
I'm
to be
looking
used for.
for, exactly.
So one way to accomplish that without running the risk that of what the mayor was talking about is you can go ahead and remove it from the grants department, place it on the on reserves, or perhaps earmarking that as funds for this particular study for approval at a time to be determined. So that way you are removing that from the grants department. You may be placing it in reserves, but you can do one of two things. You can either earmark that for that study, even when it comes to the commission, or you can choose just to place it in reserves. I mean, that is ultimately up to the commission. But I think those are a couple of ways. One, I think it takes into account what the mayor is talking about. I say that it has to be done at some point. And at least that way you have not encumbered that money
No, I want to
for
make sure
other uses.
that the money's going to be there for, if we need
For
to
the
use
study?
it for this, for the study.
Then it stays there. If you remove it and you put it into reserves, the money's not there.
But if we put it onto the reserve,
You can earmark $150,000 from
You can't
reserve.
earmark money from reserves.
The other
It's
thing,
just put back into reserves, then it's
what
just.
you can do, Commissioner, Madam President, what you can do, if ultimately what you want is to have approval of this item, then you can have the money in the budget, in the grants department, but amend the budget itself that no expenditure is authorized until it is approved by the commission at a later point in time. That means you have the money there, you have it in the place where it's expected to be, spent from. It will just, what the amendment here is, you're not approving that study with the approval of the budget. You want to make sure that you approve that study
Exactly, that's what
when
I'm
the
looking
time
for.
comes before
Yes.
the commission.
It's not approved. By saying in the budget, it's not approved. It's just there, because once it goes out to ITB, that expenditure has to be approved by commission, and the vendor has to be approved by commission.
I understand that. The commission president is looking for some kind of peace of mind that that is the case.
Right, it
So-
is the case.
So you can basically, with a motion, that expenditure does not happen unless it is approved by the commission, with a second and a vote from your colleagues, basically takes care of that issue and should give you all the comfort level that cannot be spent unless approved by
Okay,
the
then I'm
commission.
gonna put a motion.
Through the
that,
chair.
I have actually,
Hold on, yeah, hold on, let me,
okay,
you first, yes, go ahead, ma'am, and then.
I had a question to the mayor and to you, Madam President. You said that the 150,000 is in the grant finance department, account number 541631. That's what are you talking about, professional fee orders?
Correct, it should be there.
So that line item, we have for 17-18, 2,072,150. The difference is for what? I need some kind of explanation about that account number.
What page?
The page, administration run office, account number
What page?
541631. At the bottom.
19.
It says professional fee orders. For 16-17, we have 93,000.
Are those
And then
monies earmarked in
17-18,
this
we
line?
have 272,000. It's more than 150,000. What is the difference? What's, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, as Tony was just trying to explain, the $93,000 was adopted this year, and then the difference between that, the $179,000, is the money that we're earmarking for the study.
That's 150,000 for the study.
Correct.
And the difference is for what? It's for FEMA?
The original $93,000, I don't know at this moment, right now.
I would like to know. You told me this morning it was for FEMA? It is for FEMA?
Yes.
So we are going to replace that for 93,000 instead the difference, so I don't know. You make the motion.
Yeah, the motion was gonna be, based on what we're talking about, the $150,000. It was gonna be up to approval by the commission.
So you have to subtract 272,000 less 150,000, right?
So it's 122,150.
Okay. So that line item, I second that.
Okay, hold on, let me just make the changes, because I don't have on my page. What is administration?
It's administration grant
Page
office.
19.
Account number 541631. So how much will be the amount now?
The line item,
No,
That's
it's not
administrative
being
services.
removed. It's not being removed.
one more?
Madam President, if I understand your motion, is that particular line item, you don't want expenditures unless it's approved by the commission?
Exactly.
Okay. So this is relative to, page 19, the Administration Grants Office page, specifically line item 31, account 541631, that the $150,000 that are being allocated for the drainage study come to the commission prior to approval and expenditure.
Exactly.
That's your motion.
Yes, that's my motion.
I second that.
Okay, you had a question before we continue?
Yes. I think Madam Chair's question is pretty clear at this point. I think it was a bit hazy in the beginning. We're all a bit confused, but she clarified it. So, just to reiterate, we can go ahead and deduct the 272 from the 272,150, which is account number 541631, professional fees. We're going to deduce $150,000 from that line item. I just want to make sure that's what it is. And it's going to come out to 122,150. And then the difference that we're deducing would go to reserves. Is that
No,
No,
what the...
No.
our money's not being put in
No.
reserves.
So where would that?
The line item is not being changed, the amount of funds in that particular line item is not being changed. It is simply, what Madam President is doing is making sure that that particular study, where $150,000 have been allocated, that money remains on this line item, but it is not to be spent until such time as the commission, as the mayor brings it for approval and requests authority to expend those monies.
Yeah, so this is why I'm asking my question. I'm sorry I'm so long-winded. The mayor can't spend that money without the commissioner approval.
That's
Is that
what they
correct?
said.
No, it's correct.
Anything over $1,000 would require
Right.
commission approval, unless there's been explicit approval in this budget. In this budget, for example, you have items such as utilities and other items that are basically, the mayor doesn't come to the commission for approval to pay those utilities.
Sure.
It is basically automatic, so there are some expenditures that are along those lines. Anything that doesn't fit into that category, or that the commission has already, or items that the commission has already approved by virtue of approving the budget, for example. And that you find in the narrative in your budget. And I think that because it's in the budget message, I think that's why Madam President wanted to get, I guess, assurances that it has to come to the commission. So I think that with that motion and we'll take care of that if voted in an affirmative fashion by
So,
the commission.
and thank you for that. So what is your legal opinion based on the fact that it's on the budget message? Would it be stronger for us to go ahead and vote upon that now, as the Madam President wishes, to make sure that the act is committed as it's read by Madam Chair, or her wishes? So you're basically saying,
With this motion,
Okay.
you're basically amending
I'm good.
the tentative budget, and again, there will be a record of all the motions that are approved by this commission. In conversations with the clerk right now, I'm gonna make sure that I do my best in reciting whatever motions any commissioner make that is voted upon and receives a favorable vote, to make sure that we capture them accurately and the vote, so the administration can then,
I got you.
do their work.
And listen, I agree with both sides. We obviously need the drainage improvement in the north, but I see what Madam President is stating. You just want to verify that everything is done correctly. So I guess if you can will it, you already have a second, so you can call roll call.
Yes,
Or,
roll call.
Commissioner Villanueva?
yes.
Commissioner Borrero?
Yes.
Commissioner Duazo?
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz?
Yes.
Commissioner Barreto?
Yes.
Commissioner Holtz Alonso?
Yes.
President Ñaño?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Madam
7-0.
President? Just one quick suggestion, Commissioners, whenever you get to a particular item that you wanna address, if you can let us know the page number and the line item, that way we all follow your.
No page numbers.
Great.
No, I don't have any patient.
I don't have page.
Some of them are
Some are
worn out.
hidden.
I guess we could just go to titles and
Yeah, I had to go by titles. I don't have patient numbers.
so that passes unanimously, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Check on the left side of the
Move on.
page.
Some don't have it.
No, some
No,
don't have it. I
this one doesn't have
anything
it.
at all.
This one doesn't have it anywhere. Oh, you got a better copy than I do.
Yeah, some of the copies that, the numbers of the bottom right-hand corner don't quite make it.
Okay, let's
Madam
move on.
President, we are going to
Yes.
have page by page how we can,
However,
so,
Madam President wishes to do it.
We have, hold on, let me find that here. I don't want to be at fault.
may I suggest something?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, just mention one page, ask all the commissioners if they have any changes or would like to have any
Okay.
changes.
That's
That's my,
yeah, and I have changes too, so we can all work together.
each page, right.
You want to start from the front and then all the way through?
Which page you want to start with?
You want to start from the front all the way
Yes,
through? Or?
all
Okay,
the way
yeah.
through. That's what I think. That's what we do every year.
Yeah, I think that would be the best bet if you guys agree.
I believe we're not gonna be able to, do everything tonight. Maybe we have to continue this meeting
Yes,
for another day.
that's fine.
Okay, now we're gonna go, the first one is gonna be the, let me see, legislative. Okay, do we have anything? Any changes?
On legislative,
Yes,
through the
Page
chair.
6.
no, I don't have page.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
No have paid.
I guess just
Page 6.
my first question would be to the mayor. I remember 2 years ago, the commissioner's office was, I don't know what word you want to give it a word, downsized. Is there a location in the building where the commissioners can have a location where we can meet constituents, where we can, work on our legislative items? Is that something that you're looking at?
I was, and we were going to be able to do it had GIU stayed in the same location. If we have to move GIU out of there, we are actually going to have to separate GIU into 3 pending offices in the back. So it really depends on the outcome of this budget.
Does that include the former commissioner's office?
That sucks.
Okay, no.
I can say
Yeah.
sucks, right?
Okay, I
Shouldn't,
have,
but it does.
line 36. Account number is 547051. Of supplies, office supplies. I want to increase that, a total to $2,000.
What is the number?
Which one?
36?
Line 36,
Line 36, okay.
547051, supplies office. The commissioners we need to have $2,000 total.
And Madam
Instead of
Chair,
500.
so we would, I guess, divide the 2,000 into 7 of us?
No, it's just the supplies, just a supply, Madam Clerk.
Yes,
Um,
office supplies.
Offices,
for the
office
commissioners.
supplies, is it the commissioners need to have like, when they do flyers,
Business
all
card.
that's
Exactly.
expensive,
Right.
business card,
Yeah.
so instead of 500, it's nothing for 7. So
2,000.
I said that it would be 2,000. Can we put a motion for 2,000?
Mobile.
The motion is to increase,
To increase, instead of
line,
500, it's gonna be, so we have to be,
the motion is to increase line admin 36
uh-huh,
of account 547051 from 500 to 2,000.
2,000, so it means like, it's 150 more?
Move for
So
two.
it's $1,500.
$1,500.
$100.
That, I believe that captures your motion. You will need a second, Madam Chair.
Second.
Okay, roll call, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Borrero?
No.
No. Commissioner Duazo?
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz?
Yes.
Commissioner Barreto?
Yes.
Commissioner Holt Alonso?
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes.
President Ñaño?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1.
Madam President?
Yes, hold on.
I just want to, again, I know I've said it before, but I want to make sure that I don't, that I say it again tonight. Remember that as you add any cost in the budget,
Expense.
any expense in the budget, accordingly, you have to have either an increase of revenue or you have to have additional cuts to be able to balance your budget. So as of now, basically,
Okay.
you've added 1,500. I know you have more, I know you have cuts, but I just want to make sure that all of you keep in mind that whatever expenses are added to the
Well, we can
budget, that accordingly you think of cuts so that we can have a balanced budget. at the end.
Exactly, and there's some other items that are gonna be cut. So we're gonna balance it out at the end of the day.
Okay, Commission President.
Go ahead.
Okay, I would like to ask a question to those commissioners that were here before. The council expense account, how much was that when you were here? When you were getting the council expense?
Oh.
See, right now it's 0.
Okay, when I started, yeah, I think it was 5,000.
That's what it is, 5,000.
5,000.
All those years you've been here?
I've been
has
here
$5,000?
5,000, yes.
Well, I only saw it for 2 months.
How about Mr. Duasi?
5,000?
Don't have what.
You don't remember that it was there, the $5,000?
Okay, because of the expenses going up, I'm gonna add to the council expense account $10,000
One number?
for each of the commissioner.
So in other words, you put it back what it was before,
Right.
Yes,
That's what it
and that's on line item?
that's line item 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Okay, there was something else that you had before. There was an addition of $3,000. What was that?
That was expenses that we could use in order to be able to help any residents or due to any event. It was for the residents, a purpose only, not for the commissioners.
So that you, like, turn in your receipt, and you have $3,000 to pay for whatever you spend on the city?
Yes, for any events, anything that is concerned the residents of the city
Okay,
of
what is
Sonora.
that line item?
I don't think we have it.
No, it's here. It's here somewhere. I'm looking for it.
Where?
To the financial director, can I add that, the $3,000 to the $10,000?
No, separately.
It will have to be
No,
separate?
separately. It's one thing have nothing to do with the other.
Mr., yeah, can we do a line item to add the $3,000?
It's a slush
This
account
is-
that each commissioner had, but that was never removed. I don't know where it is, but it's never been removed.
It's not, I don't see it in here.
It's not in the budget.
It's not on the budget, no.
At
I
all.
don't see the line at all.
I don't see it.
It looks like some of it got cut off either way because not all the commissioners are down here as well. For commissioner's office, not all the commissioners are present as well. So it looks like some of the cells just didn't copy over. We only have 5 commissioners basically at the bottom. If you look at line item 37 through 41, there's only 5 commissioners there. There's 7 of us. So there's 2 commissioners being left out.
Yeah, I see it.
So it looks like there's a couple line
Yeah,
items that are.
37, 38, 39, 40, 41, and there's 2 missing.
Yes, I believe, I don't know, but I believe probably have to be from 101 to 107,
Mm,
the one that we're missing.
I don't know.
Madam President, may I suggest that you perhaps
Table it.
take this towards
To
the end
the-
of the discussion,
to the-
that way
to
you
the
get
next one, yeah.
your information here, and you have a better picture of where you are with the budget, so that way we can get clarity on this account. So in other
Okay,
words,
but besides that, there's a payroll that went down $12,000. Do you see 72,103?
what line item?
Line item?
It's the 12, number 12, payroll executive salaries.
Yeah, that's probably my salary.
That was yours?
Probably. Right?
That's
Yes.
David's salary.
Oh, okay. So that's one salary, only one commission salary.
That's the portion of the compensation that Commissioner Borrero, I believe, directing to the not-for-profit.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
shows up if you
May I
look at
meet the
line item
president?
536-099. It shows up there for donations.
Cecilia, please. May I?
Go ahead,
Correct.
sir.
One question you before 5,000, I remember, not remember.
No.
Repeat,
council
repeat,
expense account.
repeat.
Okay, this
Repeat.
expense account, it used to be right here, and it's zero. Those have been
Line
there
item 33.
forever
Line
until
item
it was
33.
removed, 2 years ago.
Before we know 10.
Yes, exactly, it was 5 here and 5 here. That would
Ah,
equal
yeah,
10,
remove, I know.
But it was removed.
Yeah, I remove.
I'm sorry, I'm not following. Can you explain that again?
Okay, before, the expense account, let me show, which
Yeah,
one
yeah,
it
yeah,
says
I know,
one?
remove.
line 24, 52049 dash point 102. That was the council suspension account. That was supposed to be in the past, and everybody here who was a commissioner was getting right there $10,000, and it was reduced to 2 years ago to 5.
May I present?
So my comment is, I don't know why nobody bothers in the past, that it was 10, nobody complained, and out of the sudden, it was removed from the,
May I? Your question, Cecilia Hall Alonso, is 10, no 5.
yeah. he
I
said
remove
also the
5.
other-
I remove 5. Before 10. Remove 5, yeah. Let's-
No him.
No, never.
I know.
Remove 5. I know. It's
No,
clear.
what
It's
he's
clear.
What he's trying to say, instead of saying 5, that is supposed to be 10. That's what he's saying, remove 5 and put 10.
Okay.
That's what he's trying to say.
Ah,
Okay, we're gonna,
Okay, I get you.
so you put in a motion for that, ma'am?
Yeah, I put in a motion to go back to the 10,000 that we had before.
second.
But if we don't find a line item to add the 3,000,
That's gonna be later on the next
Okay.
meeting. Okay,
Do that.
Madam Clerk,
10,000.
can you have a roll call, please?
Do you have a motion in a second?
Yes, and
Yes,
second.
Yes.
do-
And
Commissioner
before we vote
Dawson
through
In
the chair,
table.
before we vote,
Hold on.
just to clarify, this $10,000 increase per
No, it's not
commissioner,
an-
I believe it's a
not an-
$5,000 increase.
sorry, 5,000, is specifically for resident assistance. Is that
No,
your?
no. You are,
If I can ask,
you are confused with one thing or another. Maybe this is attorney.
no, I'm asking Commissioner, no, Holtz Alonso.
this is an expense account that the commission had before. Not you nor I, because we knew here,
Yes, ma'am.
the ones that, the previous one. But it did help for anything that you wanted to do in the city, beside those 3,000
Yes,
that
ma'am.
you turn in your receipt. And this one, you don't have to turn it in. You can spend it on, the citizen without giving the receipt to the finance department.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
will be part of your salary,
Okay,
okay?
thank
You
you.
pay taxes on it.
Yes, ma'am.
The thing is, every time we go buy something, it has increased in price. And we don't have that extra 5,000 to cover for those items that we're buying. I don't know if you follow what I'm saying.
I do.
Everything has gone up in price. You go to a Publix or you go anywhere else.
Yeah, inflation.
Everything is more expensive. So what I'm doing is adding, not more, I'm just adding the 5,000 that was taken from them before, 2 years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
As a matter of
President,
fact,
in the
it was
table.
I understand.
taken 2 years ago
Hold on.
from
In the table.
from the budget.
I understand. Thank you.
So I'm adding them back to the budget.
Yes, ma'am.
No increase.
It's
Madam-
not an-
Madam
That's
President.
what I'm saying, it's not an increase.
Commissioner Villanueva, I stand corrected. That would add $70,000 because the
No,
tentative
35.
budget.
Yes, yes,
35,000.
yes.
I'm sorry?
5,000, not
35,000.
10,000.
It's gonna be
It's 5,000, we already have 5.
From the
Uh,
10?
Would you have 5?
Yes, it's right there,
Yeah.
5.
The 5
It's
is
adding
in-
5
Yes.
more.
No, that's for 16, 17.
It's right here.
We have
No,
zero.
that's
No.
16,
Oh, that's 0,
17.
that's 0, yes.
Zero.
I'm putting back
It's adding
the
5.
5,000 from last year that you already had last year, plus another 5,000 for this year.
Okay, so it's 5,000.
That's my understanding, so that,
5,000.
so
It's a $35,000 increase.
$35,000 increase.
Understood. Thank you for the clarification, ma'am.
Through the chair, however, since there is currently no money in that account, this would add $10,000 for each commissioner to
That's-
the total budget.
that's the clarification I wanted to make.
No, it's
yeah.
gonna
No,
add
that's-
5,000
that's-
because
it
already
adds
5,000 have
35.
been budgeted.
No, there's nothing
The
in there.
tentative budget,
No, no,
Mr.
no.
Mayor, does not,
See,
is
5,000.
zeroed out for all those lines.
But right now it's zero.
So,
It's 0? We're
It's
adding
0.
5,000.
The 5 is on line 522049.
Right, you're adding 5 to the previous year, but 10
If
to
you
the
look at
current year.
522049, there's
what line item is that, I'm
35,000.
sorry?
522049,
24.
line 23.
20.
Okay.
You got
I-
35,000, there's 5
Oh,
there.
I understood. So we'll be adding 35 to that line. I understand.
No, it's adding 5 to lines 24 through 30.
Understood.
5 on each times the 7 is
Yeah, 24 to
$35,000.
30. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. The
Yes.
clerk,
Commissioner
please roll call.
Duazo,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Barredo,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt Alonso,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
No.
Commissioner Borrero,
I would only approve it if we have to show receipts showing transparency and accountability to the public on how every dollar was spent. So no.
Okay. It passed.
But through the, oh, I'm sorry, it does pass, sorry.
It did pass.
Yeah.
President Ñaño,
Yes.
okay, 5-2. You passed.
Through the chair,
Go ahead.
I would like to move so that for each of lines 24 through 30, that on a monthly basis, commissioners must report every expenditure spent under lines 24 through 30 in an effort to show transparency and accountability to the city residents and before the state of Florida of how all this money was used, if in fact that this is going to be an expense account for residents.
I had a question, Madam President.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Borrero says about us to present the ticket or receipt, whatever. Do you ask the same thing to the mayor too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Through the chair. Commissioner Borrero, I understand what you're getting at, and I respect your opinion. And I obviously want transparency, but the, what is it, $1,600 a month that we get? Is that about right? Yeah. The $1,600 a month, commissioners spend it however they choose. I try and help as many people as possible. I saw the majority of the commissioners helping out residents this past hurricane, and I'm sure that they spent a lot of their own money. I wouldn't want to impose that on any commissioners, but I would love the transparency. So I think your question would be a better fit for the $3,000 that Commissioner Holt Alonso was referring to, of showing receipts, and I think that's what your intention is, Commissioner?
Yes.
But when it comes to payroll, that's a different story. I mean, so I respect your opinion, sir, but I wouldn't do it on their payrolls.
Yeah, you're right, and I'm sure that every commissioner here wants to help residents. I mean, I'm very proud of all the efforts that every commissioner on this board has shown, especially during these last couple of weeks, to help, to make themselves available, to cut down trees, to feed residents, to distribute water. It's extremely commendable, and I can imagine how much money each of us gave out of our own resources to aid residents. But my question then is, how can we ensure accountability that this isn't just to pay our salaries and instead to actually pay out residents? The only way to show that, just like any other public fund, is to show expenses, to show your receipts, to show proof of purchase. And that's why I say, and I moved to show that we have to report how these monies are being spent. Otherwise, it's just going to our salaries, to our pockets, and we're not reporting. No resident can ask or know how we spent this money. Did it go to pay our own pocket, or did it go to pay, assisting, the residents of the city? And I say that just for accountability and transparency.
Okay, before I say anything, I believe that all that money it wasn't for the residents, right? If I'm making a mistake, wasn't expenses also for the personal of the commissioners, or I don't know exactly how it was divided.
What do you say, 3,000?
No.
Well,
The
I think
5,000.
it was for car expenses or something.
Maybe the other commissioners that were here before can explain, because I don't have that clear. Go ahead, sir. Oh, yep, go ahead.
I'm speaking as a resident here, Eduardo Suarez again, 11332 Southwest 7th Street, Sweetwater, Florida. Correct me if I am wrong. I've been listening to all of you, but the way I understand this, line item 22 is car expenses, and that goes on the payroll
Right.
and is tax. Line 23 is council expense account. That goes on the payroll and is tax. $5,000 per commissioner. Lines 24 to 30 is a slush account. Used to be 2 years ago, $3,000. But it was approved on the previous budget, and the administration made a mistake from October to December 31st and added that to the payroll. But in January, they made a correction and said, it's not going to be on your payroll anymore, payroll and tax, because that is a sludge account. That is the one, those 7 times $5,000 from line 24 to 30 is what is the $5,000 that you have to spend on community services, turning in the receipt. It doesn't go in the payroll, and it's not taxed. And that's where you have added tonight, 10 minutes ago, the $5,000 back again that we had last year. So those 7 lines are not payroll, are not tax, are supposed to be spent with proof of invoice ticket to the administration. So the administration reimburse you for the expense, and the expenses are controlled by an ordinance and the city charter. One example, for instance, you want to help a resident that lost a family member, you are not supposed to give that money, that's in the charter. You're not supposed to give that money to the resident. You're supposed to give it to the funeral home. And many requirements like that. The transparency that Mr. Borrero was talking about, Commissioner Borrero. To close, from 24 to 30 is a sludge account, community services, turning in receipts, not payroll, not tax. You cannot spend that at your will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Okay?
Next.
Through the chair,
Commissioner, go ahead and say that.
given the clarifications of former Commissioner Honorable Suarez, in an effort to ensure that we're not in violation of the city charter and ensure transparency and accountability, I would like to move once again so that these funds would not be given to our salaries, but rather stay in these accounts and have required that we report receipts for each of these purchases.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Diaz?
No.
Commissioner Barreto?
No,
Commissioner Holmes Alonso?
of course not.
Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes.
Commissioner Borrero?
Yes.
Commissioner Duazo?
No.
Commissioner Yanio?
No.
Okay, motion dies 2-5.
How about Cecilia? Yeah, already passed.
Yes, that, we already did that. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so anybody else from,
From legislation, no?
yes, legislation? Yeah, legislation. Yeah, we already finished with that one, so we're gonna go down to executive.
Madam President,
Yes?
on donation,
Legislative again.
yeah.
Oh, you went back?
Yeah, no, only one question. On 33 donation, can Commissioner Borrego donate his expense account to that?
Right.
So we can add it up,
I'm sorry.
the $10,000? Would you like to donate that to?
I'm sorry.
The $10,000 from your expense account?
Is it-
That
is
is
it-
gonna be together with your salary?
Is it 5 or is it 10?
It's 5.
Yeah, 5 de 10, 5 de 10. It's okay, donation. May I,
Okay.
Mr. President?
So let's add it. No, he hasn't got anything. So let's move on because he's not adding anything. Go ahead, sir.
Congratulations. You know why? You know, run for my city. I remember last year, Jaima talked to me. I have Elisa Sierra, no have money, have 5 or 6 days in funeral at home. I say, take my money. Isolina yo, for many, many years, it's $3,000 is my salary. I have in the record in the city. The right to have the record in my city. Money for my city. When you round my city every day, send to Duazo, Idania, or the commissioner, you see what is situation in my city. You right, felicitation, you have money, you donation. But I donation many money in my city. I have in the record, right?
And you can
Thank you.
mention, Duazo, we can mention that we cook for 200 people in Dania, for 200, for all those
No, that was
buildings.
only one day. We served 900 meals to the
We
city of
cook
school. Okay? 900.
for 3 different buildings.
Yes?
Okay, let's move on. Then we're gonna go to executive, please. I have, item 32, miscellaneous expenses. Okay, we are showing 1,300,
Well, an item, Madam.
32, 539,949 miscellaneous expenses. As of June, they're only being spent $300. We don't need $13,000.
June, we had July 2. If you look July, what is the account number?
The account number?
539,949.
Miscellaneous expense as July, 696.
696, okay,
As
there we go.
July.
32.
We don't need
Yes,
$13,000.
as July. We had that amount of money expense.
We
just
can
spent
reduce it to
4%.
$1,000.
Okay.
My question is donation.
No, Duaso, we
Well, no,
already
tell you,
passed that.
what is-
We are here now.
Wait,
Next page,
next page.
okay.
10:30.
This is 32,
32, right.
item 32. We can put it to $1,000. So my motion is to take out 12,000.
I move.
Through the chair. Do we have a scope of what miscellaneous expenses is under anything?
That's what I asked last year. That's
So
what I asked
miscellaneous
last
expenses
year.
can be spent on,
Anything.
Anything. is that accurate?
Anything.
Unless there's a specific description,
What's it?
yes, it
40,
could
41.
be anything that may not be
I don't know.
reflected in the budget.
And the
Again,
mayor,
anything over
32.
1,000.
and you've only used 300 of the miscellaneous?
No, apparently what they're saying is $700.
700?
700. And we have 13,000.
All right. Got it?
No.
Yeah, you want to cut it from 13 to 1,000.
That's what they're saying, yeah.
Yeah, of course, they increase on their end, but they cut on mine.
So the motion, as I understand it, is to go ahead and
Cut
reduce
12,000.
line item 31 from 13 to 1.
Which
So
is
$13,000.
$12,000
I'm
less.
sorry, line item 32 from 13,000 to 1,000.
Yes.
The motion, you made the motion.
I made the
Madam?
I
motion.
second.
Second, roll call, Madam Clerk,
Through,
please.
through the chair,
Yes.
I'd just like to know what that line item is for.
Anything.
It's anything that's specifically covered there.
Like what? Anything.
Let's say that there is a specific line item for computers. Let's assume that you didn't have a line item for computers. I could use that to buy a computer, as long as it would not exceed $1,000, because then I have to come to commission. And as the discussion was already there, I've only spent under $1,000 in this year of that money. If I quote Commissioner Barreto, I think she said $696.
How much have you spent?
She was just saying $696.
How much have you spent? like last year?
That's home.
$696
Okay,
in a year.
okay.
Okay, roll
Okay.
call, Madam Clerk,
Commissioner
please.
Barredo,
Yes, yes.
Commissioner Holtz Alonso,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva.
I'm going to make a statement before I vote. I voted no for our increase, not because I'm sure the commissioners are going to use our $5,000 increase for the public good, and I appreciate
We
that.
always do that.
And I
We
appreciate,
always
and I know you do.
For the last 20
And I know you do,
years,
ma'am.
you know,
And I know you do.
I always present my receipt to the,
And I know you do. If I could just finish,
Please.
there's no. I'm not saying that you
I
don't.
don't like it, Mr. Commissioner Borrero, what says about transparency,
Well,
so
well,
really,
well, if I could just finish,
it's bothering me.
I understand, and if I could just finish, I won't speak on behalf of Commissioner Borrero. I think the reason why I voted no was just in the manner in which it was presented, and I know that we all help out a lot of people. But in hopes of being fair, we're going to increase ours 5,000, and we're going to deduce the mayor's by 12,000, only giving him the ability to have $1,000. I don't want to defend the mayor. He's a big boy. He could defend himself. And if you want to say something about that, go ahead. I just don't want to increase anything. So based on the fact that I don't want to increase anything, but it's really not fair. The question was, do we reduce it from 13,000 to 1,000 is the question, right? Yes.
Well, if you see, Madam President,
You go
He
ahead.
voted yes.
Yeah, he voted yes.
okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Commissioner Borrero,
No, no, esto ya,
From 13,000 to 1,000, yes.
Commissioner Duazo, Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
President Yanio.
Yes.
about me?
You were the first one who
You were the
voted.
first one, man.
You gave 3 yeses.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
said yes, yes, yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Let me look into this one.
Madam President, I have one.
Go ahead.
Okay, number 40, supplies printing. Okay.
Wow.
16, 17,
Wow.
we had 2,500. He asked for 17, 18, 30,000. If you look the numbers as July, year to date, July, 404. That's,
Yes, I saw that too.
so it's just, to me,
Okay, the
Yes,
increase
that-
on that line item is to try to do, as the city did several years ago, which is a community newsletter,
The newsletter?
to come out 4 times a year, or 3 times a year, whatever is affordable within those monies.
well, the present time, I make a motion to 3,000.
No newsletter.
30,000? Yeah. You have line 40.
I'm sorry, through the chair.
940.
Oh,
Through the
hold
chair.
on, hold on, give me just 1 second. She put a motion, right, right, ma'am? You
3,000.
put a motion? I second that one. Now, go ahead.
Just so the clerk can go ahead and jot it down, the motion is to, on line item 40, account 547447, to reduce from 30,000 to 3,000.
Yes.
Right.
Now, go ahead.
And Commissioner Yanni, you second the motion, right?
Yes.
To the mayor. What exactly does that newsletter entail? And you said it would be, what, quarterly or 3
What-
times a year at least?
3 times a year or 4 times a year, whatever could be afforded. And when it was done in the past, all it would do is, when we did do it, we did it quarterly, every 3 months, and it would basically have a calendar of the city events, what is going on in the city, what's being done, and what is happening over the next 3 months. And it would have calendars of all the upcoming events, and it would be mailed to all the residents.
Okay.
See, we haven't made something clear. All this money that we're cutting out, think it was supposed to be saying that's gonna go to the reserve?
It's either going, everything goes to reserve, but remember, you're also adding expenses, so
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
the administration has to come back and reconcile all the numbers that you give them tonight.
No, I just wanna make clear, you know, what we're doing. Okay, then we have a motion on the floor,
Yes.
please.
Commissioner Holtz Alonso,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Borrero,
Yes.
Commissioner Duazo,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Only because I think that this is a luxury. That newsletter would be a luxury that we really don't have the time for right now. But that's the reason why I'm voting yes to reduce it to 3,000.
Commissioner Barredo,
We got Channel 77, so yes.
President Yanio.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 7-0.
Anything else?
Yes, yes, of course. We haven't finished yet. Okay, hold on. We have 40, and we took care of. Okay, hold on a second. What was the other one that we took? Oh, the 13, line 32. Okay, I have line 34, professional fees and odor. I need to look at the,
I have question. What are professional fees?
Professional fees, that's for a city planner.
18,000,
no,
No,
68,000.
68,000.
58,000.
Last year
Wow,
was
wow, wow.
50.
Oh, yeah. 68.
Okay, last year was 50. As of June, because I didn't have July, the only thing was expense was $7,500.
No, $10,000.
68,000.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, does the city planner have any way, shape, or form to alter the city master plan?
Yes, sir.
So is that,
That's the person that needs to do it.
okay,
And we hired a city planner to only and exclusively work on the Bowsbury property to correct the moratorium on it so that we can amend it. While we don't have monies to hire a city planner, we don't have the land development map done or anything.
well, my question is this, if we had $50,000 for this year, why wasn't it done this year?
Because I tried to hire a city planner twice and it was refused by this very same commission. Well, not this very same commission, because you have a junior commission at this time.
And you couldn't find anybody, some outsource?
No, I did, but a commission refused to hire the person.
No, I'm talking about like you can't just give it over to a company to do the work?
Correct. That's what I did. City planner has to be ratified by the commission.
Right. Okay.
So through the chair, you found someone at 50,000?
Correct.
Okay. I mean, if you can find someone at 50,000, I would like to keep it at 50,000.
Well, we increased it just in case, because we don't know if we're going to be able to do that. Just to be able to have a little bit of leeway.
Madam President, Commissioners, just keep in mind that just because you don't have a planner presently employed by the city does not mean that there may not be any planning needs in the future. We may get some application like we or something like we did for
Well,
the
the land
Bowser
development use has
property,
to be
which was
amended, and the
which was
zoning
to
map use
amend
has to be amended.
an existing covenant, and we have to go through the entire process. Or if for whatever reason there is some kind of comp plan amendment that it's anything in excess of 10 acres has to basically be transmitted to Tallahassee, and that's quite a bit of work. So from as a city attorney, all I want to say that because a lot of that work is done in conjunction with what I do and what the planner may be presenting, is that there may be, I couldn't tell you how much, but that they may be planning needs that we may have. So far, we've only have that one, and I believe the expense was about $10,000.
No, it's 20, but the Bowsbury, they agreed to pay half of
Our-
it. So
our cost was only-
correct. So we
our
paid
cost was
10.
only 10.
We paid 10 and they paid 10.
Exactly.
But that, let's say to the planning services for that parcel alone were $20,000.
Yeah, and that was only on one specific application. So that my suggestion is to keep in mind that if those services are needed, that we should have some funding to be able to accomplish those planning needs.
Through the chair. This coincides with what I've been reiterating the last few months on creating a city strategic plan. Having a city planner is essential, especially now that the city is growing. I don't know what happened in the previous commission with what the mayor is referring to, that he proposed two different city planners. It was denied. I'm not concerned with what was denied before. But we can't hire anybody without the commission approving it. So this is this is a necessity. We do need a city planner. Now, we need to decide as a commission if we want to stay stagnant for the 17-18 fiscal year and not plan any development, or prepare for next year, or not do anything next year and do it for the following year. So we need to be very careful how we tread on this line item. I know it's $68,000 and it's a $1,800 increase from the previous year.
18,000.
Yeah, 18,000. So we need to be very careful how we tread here.
So through the chair, would this be,
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, through the chair.
Go ahead.
Would this be hired as a 1099 or as a salary or just as a contract?
We don't know yet. It really depends what services we can get for what rate.
Okay.
Once this passes, we can put out an RFP and an ITB both to figure out what's the most cost effective.
How many people did you get responses from last time?
If I remember correctly, I think 3 or
3. Okay.
And through the chair? We used to have Henry Eiler for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we still have a relationship with Henry Eiler?
Yes, sir.
Is that something that we might want to look at in the future?
Well, that gets addressed at a later date, not today.
So you don't... All right. Disregard Henry Eiler for now, I guess.
No, it has nothing to do with Henry Elliott. There's no approval process.
No, I'm just saying,
It's the money.
tentatively. I mean, we can speak in the open. I can't speak to anybody. I can't call commissioners and be like, hey, you like Henry Eiler? So, which is why I'm referring to it now. This is something that we definitely need. I know Commissioner Diaz is in construction. I'm sure he deals with planning all the time. Commissioner Borrero said that he works in a construction company now, so you deal with planning all the time.
Yeah, it's a necessity.
Commissioner Suarez,
It's a
you're an
necessity.
engineer, sir. So this is a necessity. So we want to tread very carefully when we're talking about a city planner. Or we could always zero out this line item and then have somebody present it to the commission later and say money will come from reserves. But be careful because this is a necessity. So I just want to reiterate that to the commissioners, however the body of the commission decides to go.
Through the chair. I think, if we got 3 quotes last time, I don't see why we can't get 3 quotes again from doing it at 50 grand. I mean, I'd like to move to save some money there, put it to 50.
I would venture to try to not do that yet. Remember, if the money's there, if you got 68 and we can get services for 50, then the $18,000 eventually just roll into reserves at the end of the year. To chop it could limit our abilities to hire somebody.
May I question to this? Maybe this money move for the general fund. When the mayor need, I have. Present it to the commissioner, it's easy.
If those funds
That's right.
are... in
General funds
existence
is the
under
budget.
reserves.
There's no such thing as general fund.
Yeah,
General fund
bro.
is the budget. If it's not there and I don't have it, I won't put it out for ITV because then I'm spinning my wheels to try to get something approved that may not get approved later on.
If you got 3 quotes last time, I don't see why we can't get 3 again. I mean, it's only a year ago.
No, it was 2 years ago, actually, and we only had one that came in at 50. Everybody else came in above that.
I have another question, President.
Yeah, go ahead.
When they move for the general fund, money is not moving. The general fund for this one.
Okay, no,
Sí, I can say
yeah,
CTA.
what the mayor was trying to say.
Yeah, CTA.
Yeah, but he was trying to say if that money is in the general fund.
This for general fund.
It's in the general
That
fund.
is
general
general
fund.
fund.
Pero
money.
move,
Wanna move
no.
to
Leave in the
because it's
general
already-
fund.
it's already
That
there.
is
What
general
is
fund
different?
monies.
Leave in the general fund?
Yeah.
This is my opinion, I don't know why.
We got to be careful.
Commissioners, if you eliminate the allocation, okay, if and when there's a need to go ahead and get somebody engaged and have that money available to pay that, that entity, if you don't allocate for it now, you may have to allocate for it in the future. The question is whether or not those funds are going to be available, depending on what you do with the rest of your budget. That's the best I can do.
Yeah, so through the chair. So basically, the only other option, if anybody's considering zeroing out this line item, is in the future, allocate the funding from reserves. Is that accurate?
At whatever point in time you're going to make that allocation, that obviously will require a budget amendment because you didn't budget for it.
Sure.
So at that time, should you have the funds, you can go ahead and take care of that budget amendment. Again, there's an embedded assumption, all that we're talking about there, that those funds will be there. That I couldn't answer your question as to whether they will be there.
Oh, it's just a hypothetical, in the event that it was in reserves, we could allocate it from reserves, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
I move to move it from $68,000 to $55,000.
Okay, second that.
From 58,000
From $68,000 to $55,000.
to 55.
So the motion is
34.
for line item 34, account 541631, to amend and reduce the amount from 68,000 to 55,000.
Roll call, Madam Clerk, please.
Yes. Commissioner Villanueva,
It's better than nothing, yes.
Commissioner Borrero,
Yes.
Commissioner Duazo, Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Barredo,
Yes.
Commissioner Holtz Alonso,
Yes.
President Ñaño,
Yes,
I
motion
have, Madam
passes
President, I have
7-0.
two more items.
go ahead, ma'am.
I have account number 37,
7,
supply gasoline.
okay.
As July of this year, we have 2676.38. So I would like to maintain like 4,000. Instead 8, no
Okay.
increase.
Okay, through the chair.
4,000.
Go ahead.
The reason the gasoline is low on this account, as all the accounts, is because we're paying $2 at the pumps. All the fuel for everywhere has been assuming what is being prognosticated, that the fuel is going to go up to north of $3 again. So that's why the fuel expenses, not only on this account, in all accounts, has gone up.
But we have $3 a gallon at the beginning of the year.
No, we did not.
That's what
We
I
came
was
into this
thinking.
budget at $2 and change.
Well,
That's why the fuel we've spent.
We have 8,000, double.
The fuel this year, the expenditure of this fuel has been very cheap, and we budgeted assuming that the fuel has been increased. In this department, as well as all departments, I would urge the commissioners not to touch the fuel anywhere. And again, if the fuel's not used, it stays there, and it goes back into reserves afterwards. But you should not, it would not be prudent to under-budget fuel.
Okay, a state, right? If we need more, to expend more, we do a budget revision, right?
That's ridiculous, to do a budget revision to try to add up $2,000 or $3,000 for fuel.
To me, 8,000 is too much money.
And how much should you propose?
4 or 5,000, but not 8.
5,000?
5,000.
Second.
So the motion is line item 37, account 546652, to amend it from 8,325 to 5,000.
Right.
Okay. Commissioner Borrero,
Yes.
Commissioner Duazo,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Do my little quick research here.
$72 a week.
I mean, right now, the average
$7,200.
price is $275 in Florida. And if it does upward trend, especially with the disaster,
It's now, but
I mean, but we have to propose for the whole year.
Correct. And the expenditures were based on fuel being under $2, but to do a budget revision for a $2,000 mistake. Very smart.
Please make your decision, please.
Please proceed.
No, it's the lady.
I mean, it was at 4,000. It's going up to 5,000. Fine. I mean,
it's 5,000, I think 5,000.
you said 5,000.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm agreeing
5,000.
with you. Yes.
Commissioner Barrero,
Yes.
Commissioner Holtz Alonso,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
President Ñaño.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you second,
Passes 7-0.
go ahead, you have one more.
Duazo no
You
say
have one
nothing.
more.
Yeah, I have,
So yes, you said yes.
Yo dije yes.
Yes,
Estaba en los
correct.
cielos.
okay, I have line item number 42, travel expenses. Okay, as July, we have 29.95 as July. And budget 16-17 is 88.86. Increased to 10,000, so I propose like maybe 4,000.
Through the chair. Okay. Mr. Mayor, when you travel to day days in Tallahassee, what are the expenses for you to represent our city at day days in Tallahassee?
If I remember correctly, it's about $1,200 per person. That's just a day's trip, and normally to Tallahassee, it's 2 or 3 times a year.
Okay.
I do have a question, Madam President. How
And there's trips that I've made with Robert, and there's trips that I've made with Ralph, so.
Yes.
you ask the expenses in Tallahassee, how many times you go to Tallahassee in a year?
Last year twice, or this, at
Twice
least
a year?
this year twice.
And you need 10,000 twice a year?
This year I only went twice.
How about the year before?
The year before I went 3 times.
3 times. You need 10,000 for the 3
Yeah, you
times
do.
you go in Tallahassee?
Yeah, you do.
My God,
Question, Mr.
sorry.
President.
Go ahead before.
When you go to Tallahassee,
Motion.
Mr. Mayor, you only walk to Tallahassee or you are from other?
Excuse me?
You only walk for Tallahassee, only you?
No, as I said before, there's trips that I've made with Robert, and there's trips I've made with Ralph.
When it's necessary.
Correct.
Okay, how much was I, 5,000?
You said 4,000.
5,000.
Five.
Let's make 5,
So your motion is for 5,000.
yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Through the chair, how much was used last year? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't know, because I only went once this year.
Oh,
This year's
As
been a very busy year.
July,
so-
as July, $2,995.
Yeah, there's only been one trip this year.
2,000.
And we budget
2,000.
$58.90.
And,
You
and
said
David, as you know, a
40%.
normal year, you go 3 times a year, so
Mhm.
let's say if it's 3,000 for one trip, it'll be about $10,000, but
I'm sorry, where is the breakdown? Because I'm seeing $55,890.65 for the budget year to date on the July report. And then I'm also seeing here that for the adopted budget for 2016-17 was $8,886. So is there a bus somewhere or?
that's what was adopted. If you're looking at the financial expenditures, you're looking at what was actually spent, not what was adopted. One number has nothing to do with the other.
The budget year to date?
Right, that's what you're saying is year to date. This, if you're looking at the $8,886, that's adopted.
Right,
I can't go over that amount.
I understand that. But what you have here on the budget for this one, why is it showing us 5,800? Wouldn't it show at the 8,886?
No, because you haven't spent it.
It's what's spent today.
Oh, okay, the total to date.
That's what's spent. This is
Okay.
what was allocated.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a
5,000.
motion by Barreto
Commissioner
and a
Barreto,
second
Five.
Commissioner Duarte.
Five.
So the motion is for line item 42, account 548840, to be amended from 10,000 to 5,000?
5,000.
Okay. Commissioner Duazo?
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz?
Yes.
Commissioner Barreto?
Yes.
Commissioner Holtz Alonso?
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes.
Commissioner Borrero?
No.
President Ñaño?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes
And done.
6-1.
This one.
And now we're going to finance. If anybody else has anything else before we move to the next page. That's it? So we can move on? Okay.
I think we may be able to knock this thing out today at this rate.
Let's see how.
So I congratulate my colleagues. We'll just, let's keep it up.
Because we do our homework.
Okay, I have item 27, 535-599,
Contingency reserve.
it says $100,000. And according, we have to look into this, but according to June, it was $2,500.
Okay, according to July, we got 2,400.
July, line number
535599.
27.
Oh, yeah.
2,400.
It's 2,400. That's too much money.
That's an account that should have $300,000 or $400,000. That's your slush fund for the finance department for unforeseen expenses. If you want to cut it, cut.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Our reserves and contingency reserves are basically our city's savings account, and monies cannot be spent from there without commission approval. I think we need to start working towards building our reserves and our contingency reserves. And again, doesn't matter how much, we don't have enough in there, and we obviously need to start building. And if we're proposing to have $100,000 in there, we can't spend that money. We do need to, best practices is to have 3 months' worth of the city's budget in reserves, and a month's worth of the city's budget in contingency reserves. Now, this is just best practices in any municipality or any government. So if we're just going to have $100,000 in contingency reserves, I'd caution us to leave that money there, because that's the gold, that's the parachute, that's the, oh my God, the sky is falling. And I don't think anybody here has any intention of touching money from contingency reserves unless we have some sort of emergency.
Through the chair. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that, for example, if FEMA comes back and requires us to pay $2 million, or we have another unforeseen emergency like that, at the end of the day, we, the commission, have the authority to say, yes, we can spend it, or no, we won't. So, I mean, if we budget it there, it doesn't mean that it's going to be spent by the mayor without our approval. I think it's wise to put in a good amount. If FEMA does come back, it could be, require us to pay, who knows, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, as as mandated by the state. And we can use this to have that as a reserve for that, just as an example.
The chair, just so you have an idea, contingency reserve a couple of years ago was, I believe, $500,000. Just so that there was $500,000 there in the budget, as in, oops, something happened. To try to lower this is ridiculous. It's on the contrary, they should be increased to $300,000 or $400,000. But we didn't have anywhere to do it. When we originally did this, we tried to increase it to $300,000. We had to lower it because we couldn't find the monies to be able to put that money into the account.
Any commissioner has any question about this line item?
Not this one in particular, no.
I had a
Anybody?
question for something else.
Same here.
So are we going to agree with this?
I'm fine with the 100,000.
You want a straw vote, Madam Chair, just to make sure we're good with 100,000? Call it.
Let's go to opposition.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes, I'm fine with it.
Commissioner Barreto,
Yes,
Commissioner Holtz Alonso,
It's okay.
Commissioner Villanueva,
I like the way Commissioner Jose Alonso says it. I don't want to copy her. She does it smooth, so yes.
Commissioner Borrero,
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay? It's okay. He said
Commissioner
that.
Duazo,
Sí.
Okay.
and President Ñaño.
Okay, so,
Different.
let's leave it, okay?
Stays as
Through the chair.
$100,000.
Go ahead.
One of the items that I want to touch on is item number 13, account 512014, the meetings and overtime. Why are we jumping for the overtime a total of $28,000 from the last year's adopted budget? I feel that's a little extreme to go over double the amount in overtime meeting budgets.
because it's meetings and overtimes. If any staff have to come to meetings, but it's not only necessarily meetings, it's overtime. That's what is projected that we're spending this year in overtime in the finance department.
And he's over too. I mean, he's at 16 already.
Excuse me?
You're over, right? You're $4,000 over budget.
Where's that?
Meetings overtime. I mean, compared to the adopted budget.
Yeah, $12,000 is not any money in overtime for the finance department.
Yeah. So it's at 12,000 as per the adopted budget, and then year to date is 16,793.
Yet again, I mean, this year we've had countless, city employees come in and be expert witnesses or, explain and clarify everything to the city commission. And again, we're at 16,000. So I mean, if realistically speaking, we could put it at 18,000 and we're still, 22,000 under what they're requesting? I feel like, best practices would say, hey, let's make it realistic. We know we're at $16,793 now. I move to...
And when was that, though? July?
Through July.
You're up there.
Do you think we're going to have that many people coming in again, over and over again?
The problem is at the time of the year that you spend the most amount of overtime is during budget, and you start budget in July. It'll be July, August, September, October.
Is this how much our...
Still can't justify it. I would go as far as saying $22,000.
I agree with that too.
Through
Okay,
the
so
chair?
you put in a motion for 22,000?
I move a motion for 22,000.
And Barrera second.
Through the chair, may I ask?
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I would like to hear the finance department chair's opinion as to, how much he would request for this line item, seeing as this is his budget and his salary. Yes, sir.
I would say leave the 40,000 there.
May I ask why?
Mr. Valentine,
Could you come to the
for the
podium?
record, otherwise it's not part of the record.
Yeah, my recommendation would be to leave the $40,000 there. This is budget season. We still got to go through, get through the end of this month. There was overtime last month, which was August. There's overtime this month.
How much in August?
I don't have that figure with me, but we had a considerable amount of overtime.
Allow me to the chair. Allow me to crunch some numbers. And realistically speaking, we're looking at $16,793.74 through July, which is what we have. That's 10 months out of the year, right? So if you divide that by 10, you're looking at $1,617.
But let me caution you.
I understand. It's very
You really don't have any overtime before May.
right. I'm just throwing conservative numbers and just throwing it out there. Times. So if you multiply that by 12 for a full year, you're looking at $20,000. If you multiply that by 1.1, an additional 10%, that's the $22,167.
With the problem that your assumptions are incorrect because the overtime doesn't start until May. So if you exclude the fact that November, December, January, February, March, April, and May, 7 months out of the year, you didn't have overtime unless something really drastically happened.
But the money's still there. That's
Correct.
That's
That's what I'm
looking
saying.
at a general.
If you leave the $40,000, which is a prudent thing to do, and the money is not used, it'll roll back into reserves at the end of the year. But that assumption that the $16,000 have been used over the last 9 months or 10 months have been equally, it's not correct. Because we don't start crunching the budget, which is really when you start having all the overtime until you start preparing the budget in May. So all your months after May, when you start preparing the budget, is when you start getting into the overtime.
I stand by my motion. It's at least it's an additional $2,000 in turn over what they had in the 15-16, and I'm assuming the same amount of work went into it.
Okay, so you have a motion
And a second.
And a
Yes.
second for Comer.
So, if I may, the motion is for line item 13, account 512014, to amend from $40,861 to $22,000.
Commissioner Barreto,
Yes.
Commissioner Holtz Alonso,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
And basically, the finance director could always come back and ask us for assistance. So there's going to be a savings of $18,861. Is that accurate, Commissioner Diaz?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Borrero,
Yes.
Commissioner Duazo,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
President Yanio.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes seven
I
to
have one
zero.
more, President.
Go ahead with yours, yes. Go ahead.
Okay, account number 61, I need some kind of explanation, settlement expenses for 60,000.
61.
Line item 61.
Number 61.
Line item 61,
Oh,
account
yes.
number,
Sí.
Settlement expense,
Settlement
60,000. Somebody can
61.
explain it to me what it is?
61.
60,000, and we don't know what the service is for.
Mr. Valentine, do you know?
61. Next.
Yes.
Yeah,
Next.
the 60,000 is for what? What kind of settlement expenses? I would like to know.
Mr. Mayor, we're in line item 61.
account number 599001, settlement
They're asking
expense.
what it's for.
But we don't have that here.
We don't know what it is.
Here in the finance department.
We had a settlement last year.
We had a settlement last
2015,
year, so-
2016.
Yeah, but this is for.
Right.
That's for
this year.
17.
We had
18.
Juanito Ramirez last year.
Yeah, but that's 17, 18,
Right,
so.
so this is for next year.
For next
Right.
In the finance department.
That case was this year. This is from
Exactly.
the
Right.
budget.
See,
So we're preparing for a lawsuit,
yeah, that's what.
Yeah, no.
and we're gonna settle that lawsuit. And that's that.
What is it for? The note that Tony has, it says settlement amount, different cases, so Tony's saying it's different cases that apparently are still pending to settle.
So the different cases add 60,000? That's one of these things I would like to have more explanation about the financial data. Because we don't have to, you know.
Through the
Like
chair,
miscellaneous expense in parentheses for this, for that, and this. We don't know anything about it, so.
I'll get you the detail on it.
Two.
It's down to,
Yeah, please. So it's 60,000, so
Okay, so let's put a question mark because since this meeting is gonna continue, so it can go back to us. Okay, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna
Tomorrow, let them know.
caution discussion of this item, understanding that, you know, when we talk about settlements and previous cases, we're acting as a quasi-judicial committee, so.
Well, actually,
but I would like to
there is
know-
nothing immediately before us along those lines. So, I think it may be prudent to have something there to deal with like the issue we had this year. That much I can tell you, because that ended up coming from the 57,500 ended up coming from another legal expenses account that was budgeted because of all the litigation that had been going on. So there was there was a line item where that amount came from. Again, that was
Oh, it's
in
two-
this year's budget.
Two different line items.
Right, but it was for litigation.
So, I mean, is that there to cover previously settled cases or projecting
No,
future
no.
cases?
That was budgeted in anticipation of ongoing litigation. Okay, and so that's why that amount was there this year.
Okay.
When that issue came up with that particular settlement, there was enough funding there so it was used from there.
Okay.
As it relates to this year, there is nothing particular anticipated. All I can tell you is it's always a good idea to, in case something
This is a
else happens,
cushion.
that we can cover it. But
Isn't there another line item for that, though?
there was another line item for that.
Why would we have to have another dollar or another
Yeah.
money?
That particular line item, Mr. Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was basically delineated legal cost of litigation or something along those lines.
Yeah, this one in particular, I can't tell you, I didn't prepare the expenditure for the finance department, but I understand Tony has notes here that says that it's pending legal matters, legal settlements.
I mean,
Which ones they are, I don't know. They apparently earmarked them specifically.
We're gonna have to
out
just
there.
come back and address this
But we
issue.
have to combat that because we don't know how much money we need.
And while we're here, I might as well address something that in the contingency reserves, 27, as I stated before, where it should be, have a lot more money, we still have the looming pending FEMA settlement that, I know I had a conversation with Commissioner Borrero about this,
Thank you.
Professional excellence.
I believe last week, but it could have been before, I don't recall, where we're still appealing decision from FEMA, but apparently their decision right now is for us to pay $2 million back. As I was explaining to the commissioner, that they're going to ask for immediate repayment, and then I'm going to probably offer them 10 years. Then they'll say, okay, we'll probably give you 2 years, then I'll say I'll give you paid in 8, and we'll probably settle somewhere about 5 years. And that being the case, that would probably expose us to about $400,000. So let's say line item 27, where the commission was contemplating lowering it, that should be raised to $600,000 or $700,000 in anticipation of some sort of settlement with FEMA.
Yeah, but that's a different line item, though. That's 27.
Yeah, 27, correct. I was saying that there was
61.
contemplation of lowering it, where that actually should be raised to $600,000 or $700,000, but which we don't have.
Well, let's cross our fingers and, hope for the best.
Hope for the 10 years.
Through the chair. Account number 42, I'm sorry, line 42, account number 547252, supplies and postage. 1617 was 25,665, and 1718 is 43,062. Why is it going up? Finance director or mayor?
I cannot tell you why they're assuming it's going to go up, but if they're budgeting that's going to go up, I imagine that.
Okay.
Was this to be used in conjunction with the mailing of the weekly newsletter or something?
No, that would have been its own line item.
Okay.
To the finance director, what postage are you sending our residents?
They don't send anything to the residents.
It says postage here,
Yeah,
and it's
but-
finance department postage.
Yeah, but it's not going to be to the residents. Finance department doesn't send anything to residents.
So who are they sending things to for postage?
Any correspondence mails out of the finance department, they pay the postage.
Right.
Unless if they pay, Carmen, do you know if they pay for your postage as well, or you
The
have
finance
additional?
department does.
They pay it for your
Yeah,
postage?
I believe that they pay for the
Okay, so they
entire
pay the
city.
postage for the whole city.
Because you guys used to have your own line item on postage. So now your postage line item is now finance department's?
Yes.
Okay,
They-
so-
They handle the postage.
So in order to ask this question accurately, how much does the clerk's office need for postage and the finance department, so we can make a decision here, because this is an increase of $17,000.
I no longer send much postage because all my mailing goes through the code enforcement department and building department. They're taking care of it. But I do send certified mail. Probably, let's say, about $1,000 a year,
Okay?
no
And-
more than that.
Thank you. And to the finance director, sir, how would you justify the increase of $17,000 based on postage? And if you don't have that answer now, I'm not going to make you look in the book. We can actually just mark it down, and then in the next meeting, we can talk about that, and you can come back with some answers. That'll be easy for you.
Explanation of why the postage is anticipated going up so high. Yeah, just make that up.
All right, so is everybody good with that? Next meeting, we can jot that
Okay
down?
with that. Graham says they're going to revisit. He's going to get us more information on the postage.
Okay, as July, we had 24,000.
Right.
So we want to wait until next meeting?
I guess we're going to call next meeting immediately, right?
I don't know.
I would hope so. That we could just knock this out and be ready for October 1st. Say again?
October 2nd.
Right. Well, I'm sure at this rate we're going, I think we're doing a great job. I'm sure whatever questions we have, we can maybe have one final meeting and then just knock it out. But right now, we only have 2 questions.
Mine or yours?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And 2 questions of the administration and staff. And if that's the case,
okay,
Yeah.
fine. I have mine, I have yours.
yes, ma'am.
No problem.
So,
No.
Madam President, are we good with Finance Department?
I have one question, Finance Department. Only the, line 12. Where this $20,000 is coming from?
What do you mean where it's coming from?
Yes, it's just a decrease, it's a new position, because I don't understand here, it says that we have an open position. Okay, for a total salary of 41,600. And here we have a difference of 20,000 only. I'm confused here.
Because there's monies that haven't been spent from this year, that's why it's only an increase of $20,000.
What is your question, Madam President?
Okay, my question was this, if you see the breakdown that they gave us, it's an open position
Uh-huh,
with a salary of $41,600.
uh-huh.
But then the difference here on the
There's actually
bottom-
two open positions.
Yes, it's two of them. On the other one, 34,278. But then here, I see the difference between the salary from 2016, 2017. The only difference is 20,366.
No, it's 3.1, supposed to be, right?
No, yeah, but look at the,
Yeah, it's a 20,000 increase.
20,000.
Ah, yeah, yes.
Are you,
That's why I got confused.
to piggyback on Madam President's question, are you offering any raises to the Finance Department?
COLAs.
So COLAs are 3?
Yeah, but the increase there is the added position that we're adding a purchasing agent, that we've never had a purchasing agent. So we will have hopefully we will have a centralized purchasing agent, so all purchases from this point forward will get scrutinized through that purchasing agent to make sure that we're buying whatever product we're gonna get at the most economical price that we can.
I agree, that sounds efficient, but I think I have the same confusion that you have, Madam President, and let me see if we're on the same page. The total salary after sick bonus and Xmas, Christmas bonus is $399,097. When you go to the line item, which is line 12, it's $391,615, so those numbers don't actually add up. So there's a discrepancy there that kind of confuses me.
So where are you getting the 399?
Yeah.
So I just flip and I go to your tentative budget and I go down to salary, payroll, total salary.
389,099.
And if you look right here, 399,097. So I look at that, and then I wanted that number to match on the finance department, so I went to line 12 payroll, and it went to 391,615. So those numbers actually,
Yeah, you got a $2,000 discrepancy.
right, so there's a discrepancy there that may have been a clerical error or whatever.
Could be.
Maybe that's what was confusing me. I don't know if that was confusing you. And listen, clerical errors are going to happen, but I guess that'll be our third question in the next meeting about those $20,000 discrepancy and the,
$2,000 discrepancy.
well, we have two, which is the $20,000 increase from 1617 to 1718, and then the discrepancy of 2,000 some odd dollars. So you guys can just answer those two questions in the next
Yeah,
one.
there's a $2,000 discrepancy, and the increase is the increase, sir, which will probably be
Right.
off by $2,000.
Yeah, but that doesn't seem like a big deal. I mean, it seems like that's simple enough to answer.
It's,
That's just to carry the 3 and
exactly.
Okay, so anything else, anybody?
I'm good to move on with that one.
If I'm not mistaken, the meeting is supposed to be done at 10 o'clock?
11:30.
At 11:30.
Yeah.
At 11:30 p.m.
Oh, okay.
We actually might
So
finish
plenty
this
of
thing.
time.
I think we might finish this thing.
Okay, so can we move on to the next one? Sure. Okay, now we're going to clerk's office.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Clerk's office, line 34, account number 541331, professional fees. 1617 was 731,900, and the tentative budget is $165,000. That's a $566,000 or $567,000 difference. What's the, Mr. Mayor, what is the difference there?
The monies that were originally budgeted were to pay for the pending litigation. since it's only on appeal right now, we're figuring that we shouldn't spend more than that $165,000 from this point forward.
Okay, so that comes out of clerk's office.
Correct.
All right, so we're not budgeting for that either?
165. Should be on the tail end where it should reach some type of resolution in the next couple of months.
So 15, 16, we budgeted 625.
Correct.
16, 17, we budgeted 731.
Correct. Of which we used, I think,
200.
no, over that.
More?
Close to 4, or around 4.
And now, this year, we're budgeting 165,000. Okay.
Madam President? Commissioner Villanueva, keep in mind also that if that expenditure that the mayor was referring to comes in the new budget year, in the next budget year, whatever remains in this account obviously rolls over into
Right.
into reserves. So that's why you have to forecast that if those invoices come in the new fiscal year, you got to be ready to pay them.
Yeah. I'm pretty good on clerk's office, Madam Chair.
Madam President. Line 41, 547051, supplies, office supply. Okay, I want a little bit more, like $50 more, because she hasn't been able to buy us the frame for our pictures, because she
That-
said there's no money.
That will fall under your account, Commissioner's account. Commissioner's miscellaneous expenses, for example.
Well, I didn't know that, because I kept asking
Yeah.
to get me the frame.
And there's no money in that account.
Huh?
In the,
There's no
under
money in
Commissioner,
that account.
it's no
No.
money in that account.
So that, it's not the clerk's.
It's not.
Nobody told me anything.
Okay, I would like to add a line, the item line for awards and trophy.
Under my account.
$2,000. Yes, please.
I had a question, Madam
So-
President. Who is
Okay.
paying those plaques?
No, they need to add,
We had to add it?
She wants to add awards and trophies.
awards and trophy. So I'm gonna put a motion to add, line item, $2,000 for awards and trophy.
Moved.
$2,000?
2,000.
So moved.
Huh?
Moved.
You move?
A second.
Go, Madam
Commissioner
Clerk.
Borrero. Commissioner Holt Alonso,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Borrero,
Yes.
Commissioner Duazo,
Yeah.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Barreto,
Yes.
President Ñaño.
Yes.
Okay?
Madam
Passes
President.
7-0.
Go ahead.
I would like for next time for the city clerk or somebody explain to me about the supplies, where you get the money from, because I asked many times about the frames and nobody ever told me that that comes out of our expense account, because I would have paid it myself. Okay, I keep repeating all the time, I will pay it, I will pay it. No, don't worry, wait until the budget, And then I'm trying to put it on the budget,
Yeah, I know.
and now they tell me it's out of the expense.
It is added.
Commissioner, that one of the first things that you did tonight was to fund your office supplies.
Office supplies? Yeah.
So you've already placed funding there, so you
Okay,
shouldn't
but
have that issue.
I need an explanation, because when I asked before, what happened to the frames that goes with our picture, nobody ever explained to me that it was coming out of our expense account,
Understood.
okay? And then I don't wanna be embarrassed one more time, that somebody will tell me that it comes out of our expense account.
No, not your expense account. You have a line item specifically
For supplies,
for
okay.
office supplies. That item has been funded.
Yes.
So So I'm sure that that issue will be,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all I needed to know.
Okay, I have a question about line number 12, 512012. Why increase to 58,957?
I think they have like two.
He wants to hire
two
another employee?
positions.
We've added 2 employees there.
Yeah.
The payroll, it just went,
Look at the, yeah, they have two open
yes,
positions.
I see it now. And do we need?
Madam President, just,
No,
I
that's-
I can
I'm
tell you
asking.
from my perspective as city attorney, and I work on a daily basis with the clerk.
Very understaffed.
No, I'm just asking a question. Do we need extra employees, Mayor?
Hopefully.
We don't have a secretary.
No,
Hopefully.
we don't, but, but that's not part of the clerk office.
All departments, all I can tell you is all departments in the city are understaffed at this moment, and we've tried to staff all departments correctly in this budget. Well, not even correctly, at least a Band-Aid.
Okay, just have a question on it, just because I saw that increase.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Line 35, account number 541431, professional fees, legal 120,000. That's you?
That's me.
All right, I'm good with
Okay.
clerks.
We're going to, anybody else say anything before we move on to the next? Administration business tax receipt.
Let me see, pa'lante pa acá. Administration.
I'm pretty good here.
This one's actually pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything with administration business tax receipt?
No, I don't.
No, we're good. We're flying through this thing. Can we move on, Madam President? Can we move on to
Yes,
administration?
we move, do you have a question for that one?
No, it was just, can we move on?
Okay, administration, passport office.
This one seems pretty cut dry as well.
Mhm.
At least the last time, two
No,
times that I
we looked
reviewed
at
it.
and I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I didn't have any questions on this one either.
Yeah, there's one.
Go ahead.
Line 13, 512014, meetings overtime. Can we have this discussion with the one
Here,
about
we need to
the
change this. This
financial
passport doesn't run
department?
out of my office.
It has $6,100
It's just, you know,
on meetings overtime from passport office. I don't see anybody here. Never.
No,
that line item, let me explain something to you. That line item is, it's for meetings and/or overtime. It has nothing to do with meetings, it's overtime. That money is to pay overtime for employees.
From 2 to 6,
Correct.
2,282 to 6,100.
That is correct. A passport office is a very lucrative part of the city. And when we've had to pay for overtime hours, it's because, again, it's a very lucrative business, that passport
They
office.
still open Saturday and Sunday?
They're open Saturday, they're not open Sunday at the
Okay.
time. We only open Sundays
Saturday?
for a period of time.
And Saturday is overtime?
No, Saturday's not overtime because it's staffed with part-time employees on Saturday. The overtime is to cover various overtimes over the course of the year. It has nothing to do with Saturday.
I'm talking about basically $508 a month, if that.
And to pay somebody overtime when, again, passports is a cash cow of the city.
I know.
Yeah. But you did spend only 2,000 last year, for overtime, $2,400.
I understand. And there were times that we could not keep employees and we actually turned away business. So they were asked to budget more money so that if we had to process people, we can process people. But Commissioner, you may cut it and we will turn away business.
No, because that's a good agency to have open for the citizen here. I'm gonna leave it like that until the next meeting. Let the other commission think about it.
Boy, if we keep on going this way, we're gonna have a next meeting.
We're getting there.
Okay, we're gonna move on to administration, grants office. I believe we already took care of that one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And now we are in administration, human resource.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, to the city employees are receiving a COLA this year? Are they receiving, are you offering a raise of any percentage?
No,
To-
sir.
No?
Not that I have projected at this time.
And your COLA would be at,
2.5 on civilian, no. I don't remember. One of the two sides. One of them is 5%, the other one's 2.5. I can't remember which is which right now.
Okay.
Can't remember if PD is 5 and civilians is 2.5 or inverse.
No, I think you're
No,
correct.
yeah.
yeah, you are right.
PD is 5 and civilians is 2.5.
2.5.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
It's a question for the city attorney. How does it currently stand, or I guess what is the last ruling, where the commission is able to vote upon salaries? We can approve an entire line item for payroll salaries in total, but you cannot, my question is, can you do that, but you cannot touch individual employee salaries? What is the current standing on that?
I would advise to look at things globally as opposed to individualize it by employee.
I know he's going for instance, I had that question too, because we have here,
And commissioners, keep in mind also that with both collective bargaining agreements, there are obligations that the city has relative to some COLA and perhaps other raises and their benefits. I mean, I'll let the mayor speak as to what those specifically are in this budget. So those contractual obligations, I strongly advise against, any cuts that eat into those contractual obligations, because at that point, then we'll be in trouble with the unions with that kind of action. So those contractual obligations, we have to meet them. Anything in excess of that, you may have some discretion. It just depends on what those line items are. And I guess you can, get into it deeper with discussion with the mayor. But again, I just want to kind of highlight the contractual obligations, those obligations we have to meet.
yep. On this one, it have to be a salary increase because, let's go when we go to that, page, because it's just way too much.
So are we done with
Human resources.
human resources, Madam Chair?
Excuse me,
Okay,
on, Madam President, on line 39, supplies, special events, holiday. On July, the statement I have here for July, it was spent $1,996.44. And they're asking for $4,275. This is for what? What special holiday?
I cannot tell you which are the ones that HR does. I could not answer that question.
Well, I move to have this amount back to 2,000.
I know that one of the events that's covered out of there is open enrollment, but
39.
So the motion, as I understanding, is line item 39, account 547652, to reduce it from 4,275 to 2,000.
Roll call, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Through the chair, where is it at now? Where is it at now?
It's currently
2,000.
budgeted at 4,275.
4,275. and last year was 2,000.
2,000.
So the
What-
motion's for 2,000.
What have we spent to date?
1,896.
Okay, if you want to pause before that, $1,500 are slated for the employee Christmas lunch, $1,500 are slated for a Thanksgiving lunch, and then the miscellaneous events, which would probably be the open enrollment and everything, is the balance. So if we cut it back, what we're doing, we're eliminating the Christmas and the Thanksgiving.
So we didn't have that last year? We didn't have no
No, ma'am.
Thanksgiving, no Christmas? We didn't have anything?
We didn't have
last
employee lunches, either one of the two. We had to cut all that out of the budget.
I would like to see that we have employees have a Thanksgiving and Christmas celebration. I think it's good for morale.
Okay, we have a motion, what are we gonna do?
Madam President?
You can
Yes.
vote against it.
Is there any way that you can have maybe Thanksgiving and
Christmas
Christmas?
together.
Oh, no, two separate. How much is the cost of Thanksgiving and the?
They slated $1,500 for each event.
So 3,000?
Right, and then the rest of the monies would probably be such events as I was telling you to cover the health fairs and the open enrollments. Like right now, we're in the process of open enrollment, and that would cover those events.
So how much that cost the,
Open enrollment.
tomorrow?
I don't know how much it costs tomorrow. I'm just telling you that that's where it comes out of that line item.
Through the chair,
Go ahead. I mean, we have a motion on the floor, so we have to.
if I can clarify that motion, I hear what you guys are saying. As a former employee, trust me, I like it, but we can always vote 2 months prior to Thanksgiving
Oh, that's true.
to give the employees the luncheon they want, and 2 months prior to Christmas, and we'll be fine. We don't have to budget it
Yeah,
now.
you're right.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
right, so
right.
let's move on with this one, and then we can do that.
But you have to have the money slated somewhere.
We can always pull from reserves. I mean, $2,000, $3,000 from reserves, I don't think it's gonna break the bank. What do my colleagues think?
Correct.
Yeah, you're
Agreed.
right.
Okay, keep on, ma'am, please.
Yes. Commissioner Borrero?
All right, so what is a yes and no vote to?
Basically, sir, he's reducing the line item 39 from 4,275 to 2,000.
Okay. Last year we spent $2,000, but we didn't have Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Correct.
Okay, so I mean, I would vote no. I'd like to keep it at $4,000.
Commissioner Duazo?
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz?
Yes.
Commissioner Barredo?
Yes.
Commissioner Holtz Alonso?
Yes.
President Ñaño?
Yes. Okay, let's
Okay,
move on to
motion
the
passes
next
6-1.
page. Administration, Information Technology. Okay, this is where I have my question. It jumped so high from last year, so it have to be an increase here, from 62,686 to 109,500.
It's incredible, because you don't look at the next page where you see that you have an open position there.
No worries.
And everybody says they did the research and looked at the budget.
What is the
I did, but it's still.
through the chair? What would
I think she might be more taken aback by the increase in salary over the open position.
I mean, I work for the state and the IT.
That's not an increase in
and the
salary, that's an
state
open
would
position
never
there.
make that much money. I'm sorry.
Well,
But
if you
that's
have
what surprised me.
in the adopted budget, I'm sorry, through the chair, in the adopted
Go ahead.
budget, if you look at, you have the 2016-2017 adopted budget, you have 62,686. And then
Wow.
you're looking at, that would be impossible to pay $78,000 for a 17-18 salary if you only had 62,000. So I'm assuming that part of her shock is just that, the difference in price from the 62,686 to the 78,000. I know IT does entail a lot, especially as the city's growing and there's
Correct.
many other people that are going to be
No, I understand,
hired.
but
I understand
never
that.
seen anything like that.
Commissioner, one of the things I'd like to explain to you, if you go back to the budgets back in, let's say when I became mayor, we had an IT manager, an IT consultant that used to make an excess, he's making $96,000 a year. And then on top of that, he used to consult an outside IT firm that used to bill the city somewhere close to $200,000 a year. We consolidated an IT department between a manager and an IT outsource from just about $300,000 to under $100K. And we're still far behind. We're not being able to play catch-ups, so that's why we're trying to add a second person in that position to be able to do that.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
I know that IT is essential, especially in today's age. Most IT managers will have their A+, their MCSE, their Cisco levels, and I believe there's, I don't know how many levels of Cisco and MCSE. Most IT managers are making over $100,000 a year. That's a fact. But there is an increase, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor. Well, Neil, correct me if I'm wrong. The previous year, payroll was at $62,686, as Commissioner Diaz mentioned. There was only one position.
Correct.
Now, the IT managers proposed to make $78,000, which is an increase of $15,314.
Correct.
So it's a $15,000 increase.
That is correct.
I mean, I would have loved, to get that kind of increase. That would have been great. But is there a way that maybe we can, listen, I've seen what he does. Up to now, I have no complaints. But it's, it's a bit high, and I'm sure that our commissioners would like to see that lowered. Maybe we can compromise a bit. I mean, listen, we've never had somebody in that position as a city employee. We've always contracted. But maybe we can lower it a bit, as the commission can maybe come to a general consensus. I think as a dais, we're doing great. And I want to keep that momentum going. I don't want to stop just on one line item. But is that a possibility? Maybe we can lower that a bit, Mr. Mayor?
I can't see it.
Say again?
I can't see it.
You can't see to lower it?
No.
Okay. And then his assistant, the IT clerk, would be making $31,200.
Correct.
Full-time or part-time?
That'll be a full-time position.
Okay. I never want to take money away from people.
No, me either, but I never think, what you said about making over $100,000?
As an IT manager?
You're talking about a private.
Correct, private sector.
industry,
Private
okay?
sector, yeah.
Because go to the state and see what it makes the IT.
Well, in the state's defense, unfortunately, the state has always overburdened their employees and underpaid their employees. That's just my opinion from what I've seen.
But I'm saying only the private sector, yes.
Yeah, but in municipalities and counties, they always pay a little more. I think that's why our services are better.
On the contrary, the private sector actually pay better. And contrary to what you're saying, I know 3 people that work IT in different IT departments in the county, and all of them make over $100,000.
Well, it's actually not contrary to what I'm saying, because
No, I'm saying contrary to a commissioner.
yeah, county
you were
and
saying.
municipal always pay higher. State are always underpaid.
Yeah, but we cannot compare ourselves with the county.
No, but I think
Their
we'll,
budget is
yeah, but I
sky
think,
high.
we're on agreement that we want to start striving for excellence, and we want to start striving to make the city better. But I would, and I'm not saying that our IT manager doesn't deserve the money. I'm just saying if we can maybe, instead of 15,000, maybe we can, do it in stages. Let's go to dinner before we, before we put the thing in the thing. So, but Mr. Mayor, you said you don't see how you could do that.
No.
You don't think we'd be able to retain our current employee by maybe?
No.
Está bien.
Okay, so I have a question about line 28, line item 541631, professional fees and other. We didn't have anything budgeted, now we have 12,800.
Tony, let me see the backup on that.
For 2 years, we haven't got anything.
Hey, 50163.
Supplying equipment and also supplying uniforms.
Yes, uniform. Nobody use uniform.
No.
I think they're trying to buy shirts for everybody in the city.
No, vamos a ver qué es eso.
I don't know what it is.
Get it with everybody.
No, 33 hay que preguntarlo. They have to be asked because I don't know about that one either.
That's what everybody's gonna get a nice city shirt that says IT
And
department.
you guys gonna wear them? I haven't seen anybody with uniforms.
Did Grants have one? Yeah, Grants have one too. $330.
See, I know everybody.
So we'll go back to your uniform?
Everybody's got uniforms.
I don't know. Tony owes you the backup on that one.
Okay, so going back. So we do have to have another meeting.
How about the 32? The
Just trying to
uniform.
find out what it is.
Wait,
Jot it down
through the
there.
chair,
Uniforms
It's number
and
28.
the equipment.
you also, like, there's a
Supply
10,000,
equipment that we never
What
had
line
that.
item?
32
Huh?
and
31.
31.
31.
32. No, I'm sorry, 33.
33 is the uniforms.
Sí, eso no.
And the, which one you were asking, Lorraine?
yeah, Madam Chair, the,
Which one I would ask?
there's a line item number 25, there's an increase in
25?
$10,000 for phone expenses.
Oh, yes. We need to ask that one.
What line?
25.
25. Communication phone expense, it went up to $10,392.
I think we want to chalk that up to the next meeting question.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We can have the next meeting, those questions only, and then we wrap it up.
Okay, line
everything.
34 too, write it down.
Wait, which, that was 34?
25 and 28 so far.
25? And what else?
28.
28?
I already got that. And then you said 34?
Okay.
Well, she's 34, she's talking about
Okay.
uniforms.
And
25.
33 uniform.
25.
Everybody's gonna wear uniforms? Oh, 25?
Okay, 25 is all the internet lines have been consolidated into IT, and that's a Comcast, a 15% contingency, the Deltacom expense, the Deltacom Ethernet expense, the FPL FiberNet, and the video room in the back.
So where are they being taken from?
Right now, all out of IT.
No, but where are they, because you said they're being consolidated into IT.
IT.
Where are they coming out from?
Computer?
Well, let's say like the video room is not IT.
Where is it?
That used to come out of the clerk's office. Now it's coming out of IT.
So it's no longer in clerks?
Let's say the Deltacom is the phone system for the entire city. A Comcast, IT doesn't use Comcast because we use FiberNet. That Comcast line is probably the passport line right now.
I think, yeah, we definitely do need a breakdown of where that money's coming from.
Yeah, it's basically right now all
I'm-
the communications for the
I
for the
still
entire
see
city.
phone expenses in every budget, you know, I don't,
Correct, because all departments pay for phones.
right, so if that's the case, then how is it that this is going up, yet you're taking it from there? You know, it
Because the
should show that
Deltacom's
the,
a service.
I'm sorry?
It's a service.
Okay. What service?
The phone hosting, the voice over IP. Each department will pay their own phones, but not the service.
Okay. So what you're saying is that service is in different budgets as it, right now, it's in different accounts, it's in different departments?
The expense, the phone expense. Let's say if like the city clerk's office has 8 handsets, you're paying for 8 handsets. But the Deltacom bill is being paid out of IT, which is the voice over IP, the actual phone service.
That's how it will be in this budget.
Correct.
But where is it right now?
I don't know, it's probably equally being distributed among all the budgets.
Because they show the same in every department, you know, from this year to last year. So maybe just have a, you know, double check that one.
So we have question on that one, right, for the next meeting? Okay.
Through the chair?
And computers and so forth.
Through the chair? May I?
Yes, go ahead.
So, why is it that in IT, we don't have a line item for hardware? Is that what you're using as equipment?
Well, we have computers and software
Yeah, computer
Yeah.
software at the end, like 34.
and supplies
Yeah,
and
but
equipment.
computers and software is one thing, and hardware is another.
That's the same thing, computers, hardware.
Okay, so if we need a motherboard for a computer, does that come out of your computer line item?
Comes out of this, right?
And, okay. And I think one of the commissioners had a question about
Uniform.
uniforms?
Uniforms, yeah. Are they gonna have uniforms now?
All employees are supposed to wear uniforms.
No, but this is IT,
Correct,
so he had to wear uniform.
correct.
Oh, okay.
I actually like that.
If we put it there, everyone should be wearing
I
it.
didn't know they were gonna wear all uniforms.
All employees are supposed to wear uniforms.
Okay.
They don't wear now.
No, they don't wear now.
The ones that had no budget for them don't wear them.
Oh, okay. Anything else here?
I think we're good with IT.
So how is it that it's increasing 10 grand in computers and software?
Historically, the city has not purchased a computer ever. We get hand-me-downs from everything,
Okay.
and we have to stop that practice and actually start purchasing
So are these computers for IT or for the entire city?
for the city.
For the entire city. Okay.
Theoretically, if all would work well, we do it correctly, the IT department would purchase it and then sell it individually to each department.
Do you project that any department right now is out of date?
All of them.
As far as computers,
Yeah.
every single
I mean, it was
computer.
only 2 or 3 years ago that everybody got upgraded. Everyone was upgraded to Lenovo's. You know? Yeah.
Not exactly.
Yeah, with
I know
Lenovo.
finance. They had one.
Well, they got Lenovo's too.
Right. I know that they did, and I know that.
The police department has new computers for the most part.
But if you
But-
go to, I don't know, did the clerk's office also get it? You did.
Yes, we did.
There were
Yeah.
a bunch of unit
Units purchased.
Yeah, I think for every department.
No, not necessarily. Like my computer's a dinosaur.
Is it? Okay. Okay.
Okay, now,
And then there's another issue that I'll explain to you after the fact that we have with a lot of the computers in the city.
Okay. I'm gonna come here if you want.
Huh?
So, all right, next one.
okay, now we're going to, administration, social services.
I have a, I think Mayor, I brought this up for you before. Or maybe just, I don't know if you slipped your mind or, but it shows that in the actual payroll budget, Yaima Vega is listed here in this budget for payroll at 45 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's also in the executive department at 45 grand.
Correct.
So I just look like she's getting paid from 2 sources.
Correct. She is being paid entirely out of the social services budget and partially out of my budget at this time. Hopefully, when this budget gets approved, I can make a decision whether she's going to stay in my office or go to social services. She will be in one of the 2 offices, and so that there's a full-time body over there and a full-time body in my office. That right now, we don't have that.
No, we should probably leave that open because otherwise it shows that you can spend 45 grand from each for both. I don't know if that's proper accounting, you know?
No, I know we had this discussion in the office and you're confusing yourself. No. Right now it's a name because she's filling the body, but she's not being paid by the salary, the entire salary out of both.
So she's being a portion from executive and a portion
And
from...
portion from social services, correct.
So you project that starting October 1st, she's still going to be paid from both?
Until we fill a body in either one of the 2 departments.
Mm.
Depending on what happens in the budget is when we can start posting positions to hire for different departments. Until, contrary to what somebody said that was here in the audience the other day said, there's a lack of transparency because none of these positions are posted. Obviously, I can't post them until the budget's over because I don't know where we're at. Once we know where we're at is when I'll start posting positions to start filling bodies.
So you're just gonna, the way it looks right now, it just appears to me that, it's like you're paying 45 grand, you have allocated 45 grand from both departments for this employee.
And David, again, I'm telling you, I explained it to you. I'm not. If it makes you happier, I can white out the names so that.
I would prefer that you leave it open, that way at least it shows it doesn't, or you correct the amount that you project.
Yeah, just look at you're paying $90,000 to one person.
And she's not.
No, I'm sure
wish.
she's not.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a question, and I hope that this is just a typo. For Robert Estrada, on the social services on the breakdown, it shows as $39.61 for the hourly rate COLA, but then the total salary is only 28,000.
Because a portion of his salary comes from social services.
Okay.
A portion of his salary comes from social services. A portion of his salary comes from grants, and a portion of his salary comes from senior center.
Right. Okay.
But his hourly rate is the $39.
Okay.
Correct. And then the problem is it's on a percentage basis from the department.
I just want to make sure.
So, Mayor, do you intend on having, I guess this is obviously your administrational, discretion, but do you intend on having one employee, two separate employees at each department?
Excuse me?
Do you intend on having two separate employees for both departments? One employee to lead social services and the other employee at the executive?
Correct.
Okay.
Through the chair. So Robert Hirata makes $79,000 a year. Is that accurate?
That's about accurate.
For everything that man has done for our city, could we give him a little bump?
I just did.
How much of the bump?
Robert was making right about $70,000, and I gave him a $10,000 raise this year. I added a ton of responsibility to him, but I also gave him a raise.
And I appreciate that. So you gave Robert, who probably works harder than anybody in this city, arguably, you gave our IT guy 15. I would have given Robert the 15, and nothing against our IT guy, nice guy, very capable. I enjoy our conversations together, but I would have given Robert that big bump, and maybe our IT guy a little less. I'm sure he deserves it, but I'm just looking at it, trying to be fair across the board. I mean, Robert Hirata is probably our city genius. I don't know what anybody.
Our go-to guy for everything.
Robert Hirata is our city wrench, our mop, our everything, and I don't know how my colleagues in the commission feel about him,
Very favorably.
but I really want to keep what we have that's positive. And, I would love to see, employees who have been dedicated throughout years, throughout several administrations. I mean, Robert Hirata is, I don't have enough nice things. I'm going to find something bad to say about Robert Hirata one day, and when I do, I'll let you know, but I haven't found it yet. He's probably the funniest guy I've ever met, and most capable, so I'm hoping that you can give him maybe a little more bump than just the $9,000, because he's been underpaid for years. I don't know how my colleagues feel about that.
If I could, I would second that.
Second, man. I wish.
Okay.
And to tell you, Commissioner, I'm the only one that recognized the fact that he was underpaid and needed a raise, so I did give it to him.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on.
Is there a drum roll before you say this next department?
I think there should be.
Is there a,
Okay?
can I go first?
No, I'm going first.
Can I go second?
Okay, but I'm going first. Line 41,
That's what I have to.
539949 miscellaneous expensing, $25,000, please.
In my opinion, 5,000. 25. 5,000.
Please. Increase $11,624. Miscellaneous expenses, which we don't know what it's used for. I mean,
Tony, do you have a back up there, what, again, it pays for, because
I'm putting a motion for $5,000.
Let's hold on until Mr.
Yeah.
41.
So he comes in.
41?
He says he got back and forth.
41.
No,
I want to make.
41.
I want to make informed decisions first.
Second.
No, hold on. Yes, but hold on.
Mr.
Second, okay, it's on the table.
Mr. Valentine's got a.
It's on the table, but I have a motion
539.
already.
949.
Through the chair,
Can we take a 5-minute recess?
Yeah. Can we take a 5 minutes recess?
how about a 10?
Okay, 10. Let's do 10.
All in favor?
Aye.
Try to find it, well, go to the bathroom.
Cinco, qué bueno.
65,000 pesos. Sí, chico.
Oh, okay.
Oye, con mucho respeto.
Commissioner,
¿Tú crees?
10 minutes are up.
The other guy was Bud Spencer.
Okay, we're gonna start the meeting. Ya, porque si no salimos como queremos.
Si algo que somos muy lindos.
¿Eh?
Si algo que somos muy lindos.
Okay,
Eres
we're
tú.
gonna start the meeting. Ay, mira. Pasó.
Porque la tienes en papel.
We're gonna start the meeting, please, so we can finish. Okay, we got a motion, what is it? Oh, no, hold on, the city clerk.
We'll still have it.
Okay, to clarify item number 41, miscellaneous expense. It's for rental vehicles for undercover police officers that are working for HIDA and DOJ. Those are monies that we pay for the rental vehicles, and then we get reimbursed by the federal government. And that amounts to $21,600. And then there's $3,400 for contingency emergency. Those are monies that we spend out in rental companies so that the undercover police officers change their cars, the ones that are attached to the federal government, and then the federal government reimburses us for those monies.
No, he's planning the 41, item 41, what is the $25,000 was for?
It's on the floor.
That was on the floor.
Yeah. Maybe for the cushion, but it's in the floor.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have a motion for $5,000 and second by Commissioner Duarte.
Before,
If
Madam
I
Chair,
may, through
sir.
the chair, and so that you understand that, if you unfund these two police officers don't have cars. We'd have to pull them from the federal government. If we pull them from the federal government, we will never get a dime again from federal forfeitures.
Through the chair. We have, without mentioning their names, we have two police officers that are detached to the federal government. And we have a contract with both of those federal agencies. And part of that contract encompasses vehicles. Now, if we were to, for instance, say that each car is $600 a month, which I'm sure it's not, but let's just say it was. That's a $1,200 a month allocation, times 12 months is $14,400 a year in rental vehicles. Now, you also have to take into account that during the holiday season, we have what's called Grinch Patrol. Grinch Patrol is essential during the holiday season. Crimes spike, and we have officers in unmarked vehicles. Now, as we say, we go to war with what we got. But I'll be honest with you. Instead of going to the $5,000 to lower, I would plead with the commissioner who made the motion, because only you can take it back, to not lower it to 5, to maybe give us a little more leeway just to be able to have the opportunity, because it's a little sad when we have a commissioner in this city who sits on this dais who had her vehicle broken into not once, but twice. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes.
And the only proactive solution that you have to vehicle burglaries is having unmarked vehicles. You can't post a police car at the end of the block, and you can't hide a policeman in a tree. So I would really ask the commission to please use extreme caution when deducing this line item, because we want to have the ability to have proactive policing instead of just reactive. So I would ask the commissioner who proposed the $5,000 to please respectfully pull that. That way we can maybe discuss a different number than just 5,000.
Okay,
To the floor, if I may. And to reiterate what I was saying a little while ago, and to add to what Commissioner Villarreal was saying, $21,600 of these monies are monies that are being spent on rental vehicles for these two undercover detectives that are detached. A a month after we submit the expense, we are reimbursed these very same monies. So we are actually not expending these monies, where we have to budget the expense, so we are reimbursed by the federal government for these very same monies. So the only money that you really have here is $3,400, which is emergency contingency. So that would basically go equivalent to what the commissioner was saying, to leave it at $5,000, but you have to leave the $21,000 for the expenses, because we expend the monies, and after the fact, the federal government reimburses us those monies.
But you see, the confusion was this. Again, here doesn't say anything about being for vehicles. Doesn't say miscellaneous expenses.
I agree with you,
Who
ma'am.
knows who's miscellaneous expenses?
no,
Why
no.
they don't specify that the money is being used to rent the vehicles for undercover police officers?
You're absolutely right. So
And-
can I make a
And-
motion to change the name of that line item from miscellaneous expense to vehicle rental?
Not, no, Madam
It's that you
President,
actually have two
no,
things under it,
not the
because you have
only
emergency
one,
contingency of
this one.
$3,400,
The other
Please,
one
and
we
please,
had
please,
before.
please,
Oh,
Mayor
I'm
Speaker.
sorry, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Pardon.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, go ahead.
No,
Wait.
the explanation you asked for, I would like to have all the line item that says miscellaneous expenses in parentheses, so we don't need to ask you every time what it's for, or what it's for that, or for this. You know, not the only one on this, the police department, the other department too.
You're absolutely right.
You know, I keep it asking every single finance director the same thing. They never did it.
You're absolutely right.
Well, what
I'm
I'll
sorry
do-
to interrupt you.
What I'll do in the future with the budget is to create,
You have to go to,
Otherwise, you're not on the record.
So what I'll do in the future is make sure you have a narrative page attached to each one of the departments. So you can just turn to the narrative page, you know, and the account number will be there and the explanation.
That will be great, sir.
Okay, all right.
Thank you so much.
sure.
so Madam Chair, the only other issue we have is we do have a question on the floor with a second, and I would ask that the person who presented the question, pull the question, that way we can further discuss this item instead of just voting on it.
Okay, I was about to the motion, and
I
I'm
got
just
to leave it
thinking
control.
about it. If I'm gonna do an amendment on it, just give me a minute.
Yes, ma'am. But just to reiterate what both you and Commissioner Barrero are saying, is you're absolutely right. We shouldn't have anything that says miscellaneous. It should be very transparent. And, you know, I'm sure that the finance director is going to remedy that. We need to get away from that as a city.
So July, or-
May I?
Go ahead, Ms.
In many years, never was the same miscellaneous receipt for the police department. I don't know, it may be changed, but it's not for police department. It's for current foreman. Never before. We have a new position for new director, bro. This is never.
Transaction. Okay, that line item is adopted, July transaction. July transaction was $284.23. That's how much we spend every month?
What was that?
On, right here with the tables, it says July transaction, it says $284.23. That's how much we spend monthly, or? What is that on
I
this,
don't know
on
what
the
that was
July
spent on July, but
Budget. 539949. What is this? That's what I got. It says July transaction.
Yeah, that was July transaction. Year-to-date transactions of 10,000.
10,991.
Right, but of that 10,991, 284 was in July.
Was in July?
Yes.
So the total is 10,000,
Right,
991.
right.
Through the chair?
Go ahead.
Okay, so now I'm a little confused. I know that the federal government reimburses us. Do they reimburse directly to that account, and do the financials reflect those reimbursables, or do they just reimburse to the city of Sweetwater, period?
Into the City of Sweetwater operating account. They
Got it.
don't, as much as I would want it to self-fund and fund that account, you can't do that.
It's not allowed.
It's not allowed.
What's not allowed?
For the recurring expense to come back there. This happens the same thing, let's say, when you have a vehicle accident. The money for the vehicle accident should go directly back into a line item for repair and maintenance of vehicles where you expend the monies from, but it's not allowed to put vehicle accident, let's say insurance proceeds from an accident, it's not allowed to put it in that, gotta put it back in general funds.
So what you're saying, and I'll make this question quick, you're saying that the reimbursement from the DEA and Homeland Security
Go back to general funds,
go back into general funds?
general
as a-
operations.
And then
They
we,
cannot
and
go
then
back into
we,
that account.
and
We
then
pay
we
for
put it back into the account, correct?
We pay for it,
Right?
and when we get reimbursed, it goes back into the general operating account.
Okay.
Not back into that account, because otherwise, it would be revenue neutral or expense neutral.
And if I may, Madam President, the problem with doing it the way you were thinking about, it's an issue where the city then at that point can now show that it spent that money on that account.
Right.
Correct.
It has to show that, hey, we allocated a certain budget and we spent it.
Right.
The fact that there's a reimbursement, like
Goes
Mayor
into
said, goes
operating.
into the operating account. If it were to come here, then we're not, then it shows that we have not spent that amount, that money.
It would be revenue neutral at
So,
that point in time.
exactly, so there's an accounting issue there.
Right, so which leads me to my final question. We've only spent $10,000 on that line item,
$991.
so that's the issue that I'm having. I fought for this, I thought I almost convinced everybody, and then
No,
we only bring
okay.
$10,000.
We
Okay, so
had-
let me amend my
have-
motion. Can I do that, sir?
You may withdraw your motion and make a new one.
No, I just want to amend it.
Okay.
Can I amend it? I'm going to amend it to 15,000.
One minute.
Hey, through the chair, if I may.
Item 41,
Okay.
Through the chair.
15 instead of 5.
Before you make the amendment again, and I'm trying to explain to you, there are two rental vehicles we have here. We have two police officers. In this former budget, we had one police officer detached to one federal agency. Right now, we have two police officers detached to two different federal agencies.
That's right.
Eh,
We didn't have that last year.
we didn't have that last year.
That's right. That's what the discrepancy is.
Each vehicle is $900 a month times the 12 months times the two vehicles. That's $21,600. If you budget $15,000, there's a $6,000 shortfall there. That's why I'm telling you that in actuality, the only thing that you have for miscellaneous is $3,400. You've got $21,600 that are hard costs that we are physically expending on rental vehicles, which really don't even count because we're being reimbursed. We're spending the $900 a month, and a month or so later, 2 months later, we're being reimbursed for the monies. So that's not an actual expense. The only expenses that you really have there are $3,400.
And, Madam Chair, I'm not certain whether this is happening as in other instances that I'm aware of, but it may be noteworthy to understand that I believe those officers are also being paid
They're
by the
being
federal government.
Correct.
We're getting reimbursed.
We're getting reimbursed.
Okay.
So,
All right.
So
And
we're
it-
spending
and
the
it's
money and we're being
contractually-
reimbursed.
That
So
makes sense.
even though we're spending it, we're not spending it because at the end of the day, we get it
Okay.
back.
Through the chair, so my concern is after we get the monies reimbursed, it just goes to the operating account.
Correct.
What in the operating account?
It's just, it'll show on the revenue side
Where, in law enforcement?
in law enforcement.
Is there a way that we could use that through the state seizure forfeiture account?
That's separate.
We spend from the state seizure forfeiture
No.
and then we reimburse that?
No,
No, that wouldn't be an allowable expense,
no, it's not allowable expense for that.
because it's being reimbursed.
First, for the very same thing that
So then what would you use the monies for after it comes back?
it's part of the money that's covering all the rest of the expenses. So in other words, you're expending 21,000, or let's call it $22,000 a year. But that very same $22,000 a year is being reimbursed back by the federal government and the revenues in the budget anyway.
So it's going to cover payroll?
No, well, it'll cover something. You know, remember, it's going back into a pot, and the pot is being distributed everywhere. So I can't tell you it's covering this or that. It's just basically covering the very same vehicle expense.
So, Commission President, we're back to
Okay, we want to go on. So I need
52?
to withdraw my
Withdrawing the motion?
Thank you.
motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And you had some more questions, because I know I wanted to go second.
No, I have another one that I need to take care of.
I'll wait, ma'am.
Okay, line 47, 542, 244. Rent the facility, I'm gonna put a motion to zero it out.
Which one? What line?
Line 47, that's the rental facility, 41,787. And let me remind everybody that we had a resolution that I didn't pass.
We had two resolutions that didn't
It
pass.
didn't pass, okay.
And that'll answer your question,
So
Commissioner.
that's why I want to put it to zero. That's my motion.
So the motion on line item 47, account 542244, is to reduce from 41,787.
To zero.
And
Yes,
through the
that's my
chair again, I
motion.
want to make sure that it's on the record that as I stated in the last meeting, I am urging the commission to not do this. Best standards in the police department is for the General Investigations Office to be separate from the administrative office of the police department. It's probably one of the things that we're going to get zinged on when we have the reinspection for the accreditation, and we could possibly lose accreditation for not having the General Investigations and Internal Affairs department segregated from the police department. I urge the commission to vote against zeroing out this item and leave these monies there. It's best practices to zero it out. I don't understand what Commissioner Yaño's hardship is for those monies, but it's really the best thing for the police department, and this could actually jeopardize our accreditation.
Through the chair,
Hold on, they can be put on back on our office. They removed our office a year ago.
Correct, but they're still
So
inside
they
the same
can put it
building,
back there.
and they're still inside the same building.
And save $41,000 to the city, yes.
so, I mean, I know, you said that houses about 5 employees?
6.
5 or 6?
Six.
6 employees? Okay. I mean, it's
I'm
about
answering.
$4,000 a month, right? I mean, I would like to have that separate if it means accreditation or not. Have you explored being a tenant in other locations, through the city, outside of the city, even in different cities, where they already have these departments? I mean, have you explored other options about having them, in other locations?
I have not at the time, but let's assume that the 41,000, let's assume for conversation purposes, it breaks down to $3,500 a month. If we could find, let's say, a rental facility for $3,200 a month or $3,100 a month, that $300 or $400 a month savings we'd spend more money on that in moving than staying there.
What are the costs of moving?
It's the cost of retrofit plus to move everything. I wouldn't even know what it's going to cost to move, but I can imagine it's going to cost more than $3,000 or $4,000. And if that is the case, that the commission deems that trying to find a rental facility is a little more economical, I can try to do that, but
I mean, maybe we can find a happy medium here. I mean, it's a lot of money. I know that in the past, the commission has, voted to not fund it, and I think, that should be honored. But at the same time, we can always redraw the line. I mean, we are the elected body here, and we can, compromise and come to a happy medium. Can we move to a smaller location for $2,000 a month? I mean, can we entertain that? It's only 5 employees.
could move to a smaller location. I don't think we'd be able to find a location for $2,000 a month, but
I mean, if we can fit 5 employees from our finance department in, 1,000 square feet, why couldn't we do that for our police department?
they have less than that.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
No, they have less than the space in the finance department.
No. Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. That proves my point even more, I mean, I would like to move that, I mean, rather than to eliminate it, I mean, I think the commission would like to see that, that the will of the commission as previously voted, would be considered as, from years past. But at the same time, I think we all want to see that we're moving forward as a police department and accredited. And if this means getting accredited, in my opinion, I think it's wise to have our police department separated from GIU. So, I mean, I would like to move to see, if we can find a place, lower that to $24,000, find another location. You may be a little bit tight, but, you have a budget,
Okay, I have a motion to zero it out, so let's
Okay.
wait if any commissioners want to support that.
I'll second.
Second?
Mhm.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Borrero,
Yes.
Commissioner Duazo,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Barreto,
Yes.
Commissioner Holtz Alonso,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
I don't think we have to ask where I'm at. No.
President Yanio.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 6-1.
I would like to move to fill that with, a small conservative budget of, $1,800 a month. If Mayor, you can find a place for $21,600, $1,800 a month. I know there's some very generous people who want to help out our police department. They've helped us out before. There's going to be a tighter fit, and we may have to rearrange things a little bit. Maybe, we'll strictly to just GIU, but not, internal affairs, where people come in and submit a complaint report. If we can move it to $21,600, at least to give the mayor something to work with. And if he's not able to find something, then, so be it. But at least we made a conscious effort to separate the two and have accreditation. So I'd like to move to at least include $1,800 a month.
Okay, before we contemplate the motion, I would like to ask you something. If it happens to be that the mayor can find something, doesn't he can come to us and then we can agree to it? Or we have to with the money regardless, even if he finds it or not?
Well, the way I can answer your question is the following. If you allocate the 21,600 that the Commissioner Borrero, is contemplating, the mayor at that point knows that that's basically his budget, and he's going to go ahead and try to secure a location with that budget in mind. Ultimately, has to come here and get approval from the commission relative to whatever lease is recommending. So you could do it that way. And like I said before, if you keep that zeroed out, you have not allocated any funds for a lease. So should the mayor go out and find a location that is suitable with a specific, annual cost, and if you were to bring it to the commission, whatever that cost is, the commission before approving that has to make sure that the funds are available to be allocated. So in other words, without any specific allocation, it becomes a question mark, because a lot of hinges on what else you're doing with your budget. As we get through this exercise, get through the tentative budget and any changes after that, ultimately, I don't know what your budget here is going to look like, and whether or not there could be funds there available that, even though they're not allocated, that they could be used. In theory, yes, but you don't know to what extent you are going to be impacting reserves if that's where you go to get those funds.
Okay.
So I'm sorry that I cannot give a more concrete answer,
No,
because
no.
a lot of it hinges on what this commission is doing with its budget.
Besides, we don't know how much money we have left. Okay,
Through the chair.
go ahead.
As it stands right now, and I don't know if anybody else is keeping a running tally, but I am. So far, we have managed to save $271,748 out of the budget. Is anybody else keeping a running tally?
Yeah.
Is that accurate? You have the same, Commissioner Diaz?
I didn't get track.
More or less?
I just
You're
wrote it
close,
down.
Commissioner Villanueva. You're very
Close? All right. I am going to respect my colleague's decision to zero out the rental facility. Again, I've spoken in the past. I was the accreditation manager for our agency, and I worked on that for a year and a half. And myself, along with another police officer, Jesus Flores, we did everything from A to Z. We wrote the department orders, we wrote 1,084 1,874 pages of departmental orders. We did everything from top to bottom. And that rental facility just makes our department that much more professional. Now, I'm hearing rumors, and I like to quell rumors, but if anybody can comment on what I'm about to say, I'd really appreciate it if you did. I'm hearing rumors that there's some funny business going on with this rental facility at 1414 Northwest 107 Avenue. And I'm hearing rumors that that may be the reason why we're shying away from doing something at that facility. If that's the case and that there is some funny business or fraud or anything criminal or whatever, then that needs to come to light immediately. But I will tell you, as I operated, and I was there when that office was initiated, and we built that office, not only to our internal affairs, which is doing a phenomenal job, and our investigations, and our records management system, that is really going to hurt us when it comes to accreditation. I can tell you, I'm not a subject matter expert by any means when it comes to accreditation on CFA, but if there is someone in the city of Sweetwater that can hold that title, there's probably 2 people in this city, and I'm one of them. And that really is going to hurt us. And I have to respect my colleagues. My colleagues just don't want this facility. Fine. But I urge you, I commend you, Commissioner Borrero, we need to find somewhere to house our detectives. You don't want us bringing someone who committed an armed home invasion, who was involved in a high-speed pursuit and went through trees and is full of blood. You don't want that person coming to City Hall. Wherever that is, that's a horrible image to have. God forbid we have the media out there. They're going to say, well, our officers are committing police brutality. So we want to be able to give that blanket of security to our residents.
Wrap it up, please.
I know, and if I could just finish. I know nobody really wants to hear this aspect,
No,
but
it's not that.
but I'm very
It's
passionate.
11 o'clock already.
That's okay, but I'm very passionate about this, and if my words can sway any commissioners in the very near future, hopefully right now, to allocate some sort of money for a future facility, since we don't want this one, that would be in best practices. We're already saving what did I say?
$71,000.
$271,000. I think we're on the right track.
We need more.
Commissioner, I'm gonna find you more. As soon as you're done, I'm gonna find you more.
Okay,
Through the chair, I mean, one, there is a motion on the floor.
it's a motion.
Yeah, what I would like to see is for us to be able to compromise. Obviously, we have differences of opinion. You know, we all feel very strongly about this, and I think, you know, both sides of the equation are very justified. You know, I have to agree that, you know, almost $4,000 a month is, you know, a little bit more than that is quite a bit of money. And the commission has voted in the past, you know, not to fund this entirely. Yet at the same time, we have a golden opportunity to clean the image of the city in accreditation. I like to rely on policy experts to advise. And, you know, if Commissioner Villanueva is the best one sitting at this dais to advise on accreditation and recommends that we separate it, I think, you know, it would be best practices. And I would keep in mind that we have the opportunity here as a commission to not approve this contract should the mayor find someone that's cheaper. But this is the first step. We allocate those monies. This is the budget that he has to work with. If we approve, let's say, $1,800 a month, which is slicing it in half, we are saving $20,000 right over here in this budget. That's a huge savings, and I think given the tendency that I've seen, it'll be a tight fit, but he'll be able to find a place that will be able to house the detectives that we need with $1,800 a month. It's a substantial budget, and maybe you have to use another facility, maybe you have to go outside of the county, I don't know, but at the very least, we're allocating something that will be a big win that I think we can all be proud of. So with that being said, I would like to move to try to find a happy medium, save $20,000, let's cut it in half, $21,600 or $1,800 a month.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Duazo,
Pass.
Commissioner Diaz,
No.
Commissioner Barreto,
No,
Commissioner Holtz Alonso,
no, not even our city attorney has an office.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Borrero,
Yes.
Commissioner Duazo,
N.O.
President Yanio.
No.
Motion dies.
Okay, now let me, we have 11:30, right?
Mhm.
If I'm not mistaken, okay. We could keep on. Okay,
Do you have anything else, Commissioner, before I
okay, go
start?
ahead with yours, go ahead with yours.
Okay,
Then I'm
so,
gonna keep on with mine.
so I may have found a clerical error. Mr. Finance Director, if you may. In the law enforcement budget, when you go to, beginning with position number 521-450-033, all the way to where it says open. So from the, where it says part-time, police part-time?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
If you start, if you go to, yeah, I'll show you guys. Let me maybe do it this way. So if you go to the law enforcement page, go 1 page, 2 pages, 3 pages. Cool?
Page number 30.
Yes, ma'am. So I found a discrepancy. We are budgeting for our part-time police officers to receive pension, $9,027. That is a discrepancy. Our part-time police officers do not get a pension. There are 14 positions. 14 times $9,027 is a savings of $126,378.
Perfect, and I got my GAU office back.
So there's one more. Part-time, okay, that's done there. So that's a savings of $126,000. Is that an accurate statement? Our part-time police officers are not receiving pension.
That's an accurate statement.
Okay, so obviously this is an oversight. Just a clerical error, okay. Luckily for us, it's a clerical error where it's a savings of $126,000. So, when I told you that I was gonna find you more money, but wait, I'm not done. Here is, I believe, another clerical error. Mr. Finance Director, the payroll burden to our full-time police officers, if I'm not mistaken, is 47%. Is that accurate?
Payroll burden, you speaking of benefits and
FICA, Medicare, Social Security, Workers' Comp, retirement, and
right.
insurance.
That's about right.
47%. Unfortunately, there's another clerical error. In every full-time officer's line item, we budgeted an additional 20% payroll burden. My numbers come out to about $450,000 in over budget.
Where do you get that?
So if we go to just a simple, we can do it here. Go to, if you do it on where your open positions are, open full-time, or forget part-time and full-time, no, hold on. Go to,
What page?
you can go to page 29 and pick any
I don't have page numbers, so
officer. Pick any, do you have officers' names?
I'm not gonna use their name. I prefer to use a number. Let's say 521-450-005.
521, 450.
15005.
I don't know where that is.
Second page.
Okay, second page. His payroll starts at, base salary is $44,839. Instead of assuming it's 48%, I'm gonna multiply it times 50%. It'll give me
One second page.
48,839.
Terry.
It's an over budget of 20% per every single line item.
Can you explain that, like, per,
All right.
per
So
column?
everybody, if you can, everybody take out your calculator, and
But this is here assuming that your 47% is correct.
is my 47% payroll burden correct?
I said it sounds about right.
Okay.
Sounds
So-
about right. Doesn't
so-
necessarily mean it's
Right,
correct.
so let's just say for the sake of argument, the starting police officer salary is 40, let's see where we're budgeted at. 44,839? So everybody on your calculator? Right, 44,839. And now we're gonna multiply 47%. You should have $21,074.33. So now you add that to 44,839. And that's where your payroll burden should be. And obviously, that's not the payroll burden, so it's 20%. Right now, it's budgeted 20%. I believe it was a clerical error, which is in our favor.
But we don't know that, so let's not assume that.
Okay.
I can say on the part-time, that is probably correct, because part-time are not eligible for pension.
Right. So let's do this. Right now, we can go to, without saying the officer's name, if you go to the first page of the law enforcement where it's itemized the officers, so it's page 29. So you go to the first position number, which is 521-420-004. And Mr. Finance Director, please, at any time, correct me if I'm wrong. It says here, total salary is $74,909.
Correct.
Now, I know that particular person, and that particular person has been in the city for 17 years. So, obviously, you've been here that long, you deserve that pay. But we're just going to write down on your calculator, $74,909.
Maybe that's not good, because there's a big retro there.
There's a retro there, so I wouldn't use that one.
I don't see a retro there.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Bad
Silly.
person to use.
Okay, so disregard that guy. How about,
Get another cell.
okay, how about the one at the end of this line?
Just use the third one down.
All right,
21, 430, 044.
that one, all right. So 44,839 is total salary. And now you're going to add 47% payroll burden to that. So that's 44,839, and that comes out to 65,913. That's payroll burden. But we're budgeted on that line item for 77,559. Mr. Finance Director, is that accurate?
It's 29.
That's what's shown on the report, yeah.
So is my statement accurate?
Well, as I said, I need to double check, but
That's what
You
I'm
know.
saying, don't
Right.
make
It is
any
a-
haste decisions right now. because
No, we're not making a hasty decision. I'm
We
just
have
saying,
to check
is it
this.
accurate?
no,
But we don't know.
I have to double check that.
All right, so this is actually a good exercise, because if it is accurate, we're talking about a potential savings of around $455,000. So I'm sure that makes everybody here
If
excited.
you're correct.
If, like I said, if I'm accurate. I believe I am. But, Madam President, we're going to come back,
Oh, we have to come back, yes.
and I'm really excited. I know we have 5 other items, but I'm really excited about this one. If that's the case, I will have requests. Hopefully, the dais backs me up, since, we found this money. But let's, like the mayor said, maybe we didn't, maybe we're putting the carriage before the horse here. So if you can come back with that information, I'd appreciate it.
Through the chair, what is the current standard for payroll burden? What is the law on that? What is the, precedent on that?
There is no law.
So why are we assuming that 47? Where do we get that 47 from?
Do you want me to answer?
Yes, sir.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, FICA, Medicare, Social Security, Workers' Comp, Insurance and Retirement, of a policeman here,
And pension.
retirement is pension, of a policeman here is roughly 47%.
Just on average?
Yes,
Okay, does that mean it has to be like that?
yes,
No,
it's the numbers,
doesn't have to be like that. Pension contribution right now is 31%,
27.
30.8,
I'll bet you lunch.
30.8.
I'll bet you lunch and coffee.
You got it, 30.8.
I say 27. All right.
30.8. So 31%. You start adding it up, everything, that's why when Commissioner Villanueva said it, I said, you are probably correct. Let's say the payroll burden on a civilian employee is about 35%. On the police side, and really a little less than 35%, probably closer to 30. On the police side, it's close to 50%.
Well, I mean, if
So there is
we
no
run
rule of thumb, it really depends on their benefits.
in an individual basis,
No, contractual.
okay, I mean, if you're looking, I mean, he has a point. If you're looking at each employee, right now, it's at about 73%, the payroll burden.
That's why I'm saying that this has to get checked.
Okay, okay.
But there is no rule of thumb, there is no law, it's
It's just-
contractual obligation.
Okay.
And like one of the things the commissioner found is that we allocated some pension contribution to part-timers don't get pension contribution.
Okay.
Right.
Well, good eye there.
Yeah, and listen, I think, I gotta commend the entire commission. I think we're doing a phenomenal job here together and collectively. But there are some other items, like for example, and Madam Chair, if I can continue, may I?
Yeah, go ahead, please. We're getting
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
I'll stay quiet if you want, or I can keep finding money.
No, that one, we're gonna go back to it.
We got 15 minutes. All right. Last year, sick bonus, and to those who don't know what sick bonus is, basically when you have an employee who does not take any time off, at the end of the year, they get that check. Last year, the entire department did not get a sick bonus. That money was rolled over into that pot account as well, let me not use that word, as the, what's the word you use, Mr. Mayor?
Use account.
General,
Use account.
general fund or whatever, which is about $48,000. Now, best practices, we do have to budget for that. But I did ask the attorney a question, and I'd like you to research it for me, sir. And the question was, our part-time officers are privy to benefits, which is sick pay, sick time and vacation time accrual.
That is correct.
Now, I also want you to check, based on the employee work rules, if the part-time employees, not only civilian but also law enforcement, are privy to the sick bonus program that our full-time officers have.
I don't believe they are, but let me confirm that by checking before.
They won't, because it's only for
The CBA?
For the CBA.
Okay.
That's a simple answer.
Okay, I mean, come back to me and let me know.
I mean, I know you know, because he's asking beyond the CBA.
Right.
Also in the personal rule. In
Right.
the CBA, they're not part of it, so they wouldn't be.
They wouldn't
have
get it.
the benefit if it's provided there.
Right, but in
I'm
the
gonna confirm in
employee work
but
rules-
My belief is that it is.
All right, so I won't bet you coffee, I'll bet the mayor coffee on the 30% to 27%, but I won't bet you coffee on that one. And I think I'm good there.
Okay, now I'm gonna go to, before we leave, because I think it's getting close to the end. I'm gonna go to item 48, line 48. 544046 is art and equipment. We have spent year-to-date $6,285.49, and we are budgeting $17,630. So my motion is for $10,000, which I think is more than enough based on what we have spent so far.
Again, if I may through the chair, I would not find it a wise move to budget less. It's prudent to budget the monies. If we don't use them, at the end of the year, they're gonna roll into reserves. R&M and equipment's going to cover everything from the printers in their cars to radios and everything. It's not prudent to lower that account.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Just based on your request, I would ask a request of you, Madam Chair. I would ask that you table that item for the next meeting solely because if in fact what I said was accurate, we'd be looking at a potential savings of almost $600,000, as well as the 271, which would actually surpass the soft target that we were looking at, which was the $450,000 to reach your original proposal of 4.215 millage rate. So I would ask respectfully, before you zero out that line item or even lower it, that we wait for the next meeting just to see what we have, if that's possible. And you've been extremely kind with me today, and I have to thank you, ma'am. You've been a professional. Yes, ma'am.
Together for the best of the city.
Yes, ma'am.
That's my point of view. Okay, I believe that I'm gonna
To adjourn.
just take out the motion the next meeting.
You're gonna
so
hold off
I'm
on
gonna-
that?
I'm just gonna remove it.
Thank you very much,
So we
ma'am.
can move on until the next meeting. Now we're getting close. I believe that we should schedule, what day we're gonna continue this meeting.
Immediately.
Madam President, you can simply continue this meeting, that way you don't have to notice it. But all you have to do is basically state right now when the commission plans to reconvene.
Okay, that's what I wanna see if we can all agree on the date, because we have a meeting on the 21st.
And if I may, because of that reason also, you want to make sure that you give the mayor and the administration and the finance director as much time as possible to work on this amendment, so they can
I think
give
the
you
25th is
The
a good.
25th, I
budget.
was looking into that too.
um,
You read my mind, the 25th.
Next week.
At 8
Monday.
o'clock.
Monday.
Monday, the 25th, is everybody agree?
Sounds great.
Another thing I wanted to convey was that and I know that I spoke to the mayor extensively about this, but it had to do with the mayor's emergency order, and also a subsequent Department of Revenue executive order that basically extended, it allowed municipalities to go ahead and extend the dates that, for budget meetings. In addition to, an allowance to extend those dates, he suspended a lot of the statutory deadlines that all municipalities have to meet. And as the mayor pointed out in our conversation, he wasn't that much of a deadline, because he kind of pushed everything basically to just October 4th, pretty much.
This doesn't give us a lot of leeway.
As expected, though, that they've extended that. They've extended that. I'm not suggesting to make any changes at this point, because I think that the city was very proactive in rescheduling the meetings in light of that very little window that we had until October 4th. But I felt that I needed to convey to all of you, the commissioners and the mayor, that in fact, the Department of Revenue, having heard from many municipalities throughout the state, they've extended that beyond the 4th. I believe it's another 30 days.
It's another 30 days.
So it allows the municipality to actually go through what we're doing way ahead of a lot of cities actually, and go through the budget. But should you need it, you have the flexibility. But as of now, I think that we're pretty much set with the first and second budget meeting. But you have that cushion should you require to have it, if in case you need to, do as you're doing now, recess a budget meeting and go into and reconvening a couple of days later. You could do that. You have that window now.
Okay, so we all set for the 25th at 8 o'clock.
Sounds great.
To the chair, just for clarification. So when does the actual millage rate finalize? Is it final at this
Well,
point?
we got the
No.
first hearing
Today
on
for
the
30.
21st,
sent out the agenda on Friday.
The Thursday?
Thursday.
Okay.
And that can't be heard.
But it
at
can
the
be
end.
extended, Commission
That
President.
actually has to be extended till this is done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, is it my understanding that you're wishing to reconvene this meeting at the 25th?
Yes.
Well,
That-
you,
But that would go beyond
Exactly.
your
Thursday's meeting.
first budget meeting.
Yeah.
So as I was suggesting initially, you want to go ahead and try to accomplish, your job here in advance of the first budget meeting, so that you can actually approve a tentative budget.
Wednesday, the 20th.
Wednesday, then Wednesday. I'm okay with it.
It's just that,
I have no problem.
Is the staff going to have enough time to answer our questions?
Well, they have tomorrow and they have Wednesday. So it's better 2 days.
Wednesday then.
The 21st.
Is that enough?
So what I put the 25th days of the.
I agree with you, because they said an extension. I understood extension.
Yeah.
But you
But
have to
anyway,
have
let's
it,
do it
otherwise you'd have to move Thursday's meeting.
Wednesday.
So we do the budget workshop
Commissioners,
on the
i- i-
20th,
my suggestion to you,
This is the workshop. This is
my suggestion to
budget
you,
meeting.
yeah.
if I may, Madam President, my suggestion to you honestly is to reconvene tomorrow, because you need to give the administration time to take all of these changes, process them and incorporate them into the tentative budget that you're going to be considering
For Thursday.
For Thursday.
for Thursday.
Again, the primary concern that most of the commission has is all the information that we requested, is tomorrow going to be sufficient time to get all the information over to us?
Now-
Because then we're just spinning our wheels.
There's only a handful of things that have been requested, so.
Well, it sounds to me that you may be able to get them tomorrow for the meeting.
Okay.
Again,
Let's do
remember
tomorrow.
what I said earlier on. Your deadlines have been suspended.
Yes.
You have now an additional 30 days to get through all this work. You may not need all that time, but in light of the dates that were picked for the first and second budget meeting, you know, we have to kind of deal with those dates now. And I was hoping that we would schedule them a little differently, but I know that we were being sensitive to the time frame that we had. But again, if what we have right now is the first budget meeting on Thursday, my recommendation would be for administration to do what he can to provide you all that backup information that you need to make your informed decisions, and reconvene tomorrow, so you can complete this work, and then again, give them that time frame to incorporate all those changes into the tentative budget that's presented to the commission on Thursday.
Everybody go good with tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm good.
So you will be recessing this meeting. You will be recessing this meeting. Commissioners, you could start earlier than 8. If 4 of you agree, I'm just throwing that out.
Well, it's based on some of here, he works.
I got to do homework on my son, so.
Yes. So 8 o'clock.
So the commission will reconvene tomorrow at 8 p.m.
All in favor?
Wait, after you finish. I don't know, but la viuda de Manolo Fernández, Berta, le dio un infarto.
Está en el hospital.
Sí, está en el hospital. Yo no sabía, lo vamos a ver hoy.
And she needs help paying her bills. So, I don't know if we're allowed to speak.
A motion to recess is in order.
A motion to recess. Okay, so we don't adjourn.
I move to
so let's go.
recess.
We don't adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, so we did it already.
No. That was the recess. That was the recess.